So, hello traders. How have you all been doing? Just seeing the comments here. Let me see. John Range says, like the 90s video game Streets of Rage theme, of course. Streets of Rage, how good was that and how sad was the ending? Well, it was a big life lesson for us all in there, wasn't it? I suppose, in a sense, but wow. You are like, for sure you're unique. You're like a parody channel of other crypto tubers, yet your actual analysis is amazing, like the mix. Way! Compliment of the day. Wow, wow, wow. Thank you so much. Anyway, mic extremely low. Oh, I'm hearing the mic is extremely low. That's cool. Let's get this fixed, right? Let's get this fixed. Ah, something's going wrong here. Will you work? Will it work? Come on. Start working. Here we go. All I had to do was blow on it. It was the Streets of Rage comment that made me realize that just like back in the 90s, everything works better. Everything works better if you give it a wee kick and you blow on it just a little bitty. Nice to see you all there. By the way, thanks so much to that chat from John Range. Like the 90s video game Streets of Rage theme, for sure you are unique. You're like a parody channel of other crypto YouTubers, yet your actual analysis is amazing. Love the mix. I love the mix too. Thank you so much for tuning in. Got a bit of the old okay ... from my trade. I know. I was going for that. I'm glad that I hit home exactly with that one. How about Tesla consolidating a reversing trend? Personally, I think it will go way higher over time. The tech is still early days. Kitschy kitsch, that's right. Haha, just a goat, says Goat Ninja. That's funny. Sup homie, sup Swisher, good to see you there. Swisher V baby. Everybody who is here in the stream, drop me a like, go on, drop me a like. And yeah, a wee kick for sure sorts everything out. Walq, nice to have you. Beats Viagra, just blow on it, says Michael John Scott. That's true, that's the way you do things, that's how this works. That was the 80s, bro. NES was the only system that really worked on SNES. Shit, the 80s. Yeah, well, yeah, I suppose so. The PlayStation did come out in what, like 1996 or something like that. I don't know, 1995. My goodness. Well, you live and learn, huh? This stream is going to be a Mitch Ray style stream. I've got a little story to share with you, and I'll share that just now before we really get started. I'm loving seeing the suggestions coming in from folk, by the way, in the chit chat. See that somebody, Crypto Cash, just said that reef is smokering. Well, that's interesting. I never actually put two and two together. I always thought it was meant to be like a coral reef rather than like a reef but sure. Ivan on Tech puts it a good way. Pump metals are about 5 years ahead of fundamentals. Yeah, fair enough. That's why ICOs more often than not tank. And kind of, undermine their own reason for existing. So, in this stream, I'm going to be doing stuff along the same lines as our good friend Mitch Ray. Speaking of which, actually, I noticed that my colourful light in the background is not working. Give me a second. Let's just hope that that works a little bit. You can see a tiny little bit of colour. It's not working, whatever. We'll just have to go on with it anyway. Ivan on Tech puts it a good way. Yeah, that's right. And yeah, that's why ICOs are pretty sucky. Okay, so yeah, this stream's going to be like a Mitch Ray stream. That means that if you want me to take a look at a coin, probably best to tip me a minimum of $10. However, I'll probably not be so strict on that. Also, there'll be very little in the way of education today, because I'm going to push my Patreon like mad today. Everybody, there's a link pinned in there for the Patreon. That's where you should join up. If you like this channel and you want to see it continue into the future, then that's where you got to go, because... Have I broken the mic again, by the way? Because that's where everything... Is it working? That's where... Yeah, whatever, I'll just assume that it is. Fingers crossed. That's where you need to go, right? Because that's where you need to go. Let me know, by the way, if the audio's working fair enough for everybody in there. I want you to be able to hear my voice. That's what we're all about here. It's not just me dancing sat on a chair, it's about the TA. Yeah, cool, okay, so there'll be very little in the way of TA today. I want to really draw that contrast. and make it extremely clear to people about the value that I actually do offer in my usual episodes, and not let it be, you know, overall taken for granted, which it has been, let's face it, over the period of the last year. Absolutely has been, and that's fine. Thanks very much, My Trade. You're the one, of course, that at first told me the mic wasn't working, so I'm going to take your word as golden on that one. So yeah, you know, that's something that has been somewhat taken for granted, right, over the period of the last year. And what better way to show people just how much effort I normally put in by putting in the effort which is the same as the effort that we see the other big YouTubers putting in. Now, by the way, let me be very clear here, very clear. I think Mitch Ray is great. He's the dog's eggs. He is really good at what he does. Absolutely, really good at what he does. I jumped on to his 3rd year anniversary stream last night just to say hi to him and tell him that I thought he was doing a great job. If you watch this channel a lot, which I'm sure the vast majority of you here right now do, you'll know that I only recommend 2 other YouTubers, really. You know, I throw my endorsement behind the likes of Mitch Ray and Eric Crown. They're the 2 other YouTubers that I throw endorsements behind, and I do it regularly on this channel. Now, I jumped on to the TAs that he was doing yesterday live and dropped in a small donation with a message direct to him to say, hey Mitch, keep up the good work, great to see you, having been here for 3 years, well done. You're one of the only YouTubers who I recommend on my TA channel. I thought it was a fair comment because it's absolutely true. However, Brad Fisher, his mod, then took umbrage to me doing that and told me off, said it was bad taste that I'd done that. You know, he did. He said it was bad taste. And not only that, but he banned me from their Discord. Here's a message to all of you out there. If you're a YouTuber, if you're just a regular person, it doesn't matter. You're all welcome in my Discord. And in fact, there is even a section in my Discord for discussing YouTube and YouTubers. So if you want to join that and get your channel a little bit of recognition, you are actually able to. Of course, expect to have honest, constructive criticism thrown your way if the TA that you're delivering is, of course, substandard. I, as I say, only really recommend 2 other YouTubers out there in terms of the standard of the TA that they put out, and actually being able to have full confidence in them being professional. Now, there are various other YouTubers who I recommend for personality reasons, no least of which is Crypto. I think he's the nicest guy in the entire crypto space, perhaps. However, nevertheless, yeah, I don't really. So look, let me see who let the bulls out. I only watch you, Mitch, and Crown. There we go. And you'll know who let the bulls out, that's exactly the truth when I said that I recommend those ones on my channel. I do. I've done it several times, so all of you out there will have known those names. Anyway, I was a little bit kind of disheartened, I have to say, whenever I was told by Brad Fisher that what I was doing was in bad taste, even though it was a direct message to Mitch himself that I was trying to just say congratulations on 3 years. He makes over 150 grand a month on Patreon. I'm aware that the content quality that I put out here is really, in my opinion, and I've had feedback which kind of confirms it, is the best on YouTube. The best. Without exception, it's the best on YouTube. So, on that basis, I am actually changing the rules here overall. If I don't get to a number of Patreons out there who are willing to pay it forward so that next year and the year after more people will be able to come along here and get this quality of technical analysis, if they're willing to pay it forward and take some of that value that I've given and put it back, great. If I don't get to a certain level of of adoption on that front, then I'm going to pack it all in and just leave you with the likes of Mitch Ray and all the rest of it, because I'm not in this for charity, and I would love to have it so that I could actually de-risk my life. As you know, I'm a full-time trader. That's exclusively where my money comes from, is from operating within the markets. I'm very transparent and honest about these things. So if you want to have that happen and have people be a part of this family going forwards, then that's what we're going to need to do. Does it sicken me? It doesn't really, not at all. I'm actually really happy for Mitch that he's now getting over £100,000 a month. I actually think he's getting, or dollars, I actually think he's getting more in the region of $150,000 a month from his Patreon. Okay? And let's just do a stream which is along the lines of what Mitch Ray normally puts out there, and then you can judge for yourself if you want. And that's cool, because I'm totally fine with that. If the community thinks that the YouTube would be better off without my normal technical analysis, then that's fine. Vote with your feet. Let me know by not joining the Patreon. However, if you think that it should keep going and you want to send some of that value back the way, be sure to join the Patreon. What do we have here? We have My Trade asking if I'm Scottish. I am indeed. I'm from Bonnie, Scotland. I am an Irish passport holder, though I'm a true Celt. Irish blood, Scottish bred, and I'm very proud to be Scottish, of course. Really love it. My Trade says I stream on Twitch, so I'm used to it and help others. Brilliant. My Trade, go ahead, stick a link in there so that people who want to see what you're doing can see your channel. I'm absolutely not annoyed by that. Let me just put the music down a bit. So absolutely not upset. If you want to change, if you want to advertise your channel here and let people know where you are as part of the Rocky Outcrop community, go ahead and do that. I'll actually check out your channel live on the show. Rish, you'd read my earlier comments, buddy. There'll be a time, by the way, there'll be a time in the not too distant future where it's nearly impossible for me to actually keep up with the comments as they're coming in. So can you please tell me what ETH is going to head to now, says Across Canada. We're going to be taking a look at Ethereum in this video. We're going to be taking a look at Bitcoin. We're going to be taking a look at Chainlink, Tezos, and various other alts out there, and as well the stonks, our friends GME and AMC. Now, you'll also know as well that of the times that I've done GME technical analysis and AMC technical analysis, it's actually been good. I've gone out there and looked on the internet, scoured it, looked high and low, trying to find actual technical analysis on these things, and I can't. I can't find it. The closest I've come to it is TradeSpotting, who actually did a good job in his videos. Funnily enough as well, TradeSpotting in his most recent video got 6,000 views on a video about GME, and the quality that I put out. You can check my video history. The best performing video that I've ever done was one that I published on Friday, and it nearly got 3,000 views, blowing my second best performing video completely out the water that had 1,700 views. That's right, I get very little attention here in this space. So, that's cool. Right, music is loud compared to your voice. Drop it down like 40%. Do I need to go further down? Let's just see. I've dropped the video, the audio, the music down just a little bit more. Let's see if that works for us. By the way, My Trade, did I see your comments? I know you want me to read them. Let me just see, because I'm trying to not make sure that I miss them. I guess it was about how you stream on, down there. Dan, Puerto Rico is now now taxes you guys. Only thing, shortages of issues. Peter Schiff has used them all up. Haha. Cool, cool, cool. I'm lurking in the car park eating fried chicken. Please stop the music. Big ups, Rockman. You, the main man. Crypto has more money than TA skills. Well, there we go. You know, let's put me up there on a level with these guys by putting, you know, ponying up and making sure that I keep going. Pay it forward. Help the future generations of crypto traders get access to this quality of content. I've ran it like a charity for the whole of 2020. Now we're in 2021, and I want the thing to start wiping its face. And to be quite honest with you, if we do not get it to the point where I'm making $7,500 per month, I know that might seem a little bit outrageous, but honestly, if we don't get to 2021 with me making $7,500 per month from Patreon, I'm just packing it in, okay? Because I actually value my time way higher, way higher than that. I want to be a success in life, and I'm happy if it means, if YouTube community tells me I need to go back to just simply trade in 24/7, then I'll make more money doing that. Do you want to know the truth? I made more money trading in the years up to starting my YouTube channel than I made since starting it. It saps the energy out of me. It makes it hard for me to do trading. It makes the whole process much more difficult. I made more money trading during the bear market, etc., than I have done during the bull market, despite being the person who called the top in February and the low in March, and her having banged on for the last 11 months about how we're in a bull market. I made more money then. Why? Because I dedicate so much of my time, energy, and resources towards this YouTube channel, and it burns me out, it drains me up. So if you want me to keep doing it, you're going to have to pony up, I'm afraid. Anyway, it's no bother for me to say this in such explicit terms, because this is, of course, the Kitch Ray stream. Bit low, it was a bit loud before you lowered it. That's cool, nice one. Busy in here, but not many likes. Oh, cool, drop me some likes, everybody. Drop me some likes. Nice to see you there, by the way, TradeSpotting. Up spokes too soon, Team Spanner back. Yeah, Team Spanner's back. What's the goal for Patreon short term in terms of members? Well, short term, let's call short term this year, and let's say that the total amount should be at around about $7,500. I'm totally happy to take Patreon. If there's a reason why you haven't joined the Patreon here, right? If there's a reason why you haven't, let me know. Am I charging too much? What am I doing here? These are my 3 levels for Patreon support if anybody wants to do it. The 3 levels, $21.50, $47, and $85 a month. They're just 3 suggested donation levels. Really, that's it. Hi Gank, nice to see you here, by the way. Let me know, is it because I'm asking for too much? Is that the problem? What's the problem? Why does nobody want to join my Patreon? I've got 3 patrons at the minute, and I really am absolutely over the moon and proud and love the fact that I got those 3, and I value them so massively. You've got Joel, who's a great guy, who was my first ever patron, who got in there before I actually even set up the levels properly and joined at $5 per month. Then I have Julian Benilla, really nice guy, family orientated man. I really do respect him a great deal. I think he's really nice guy, and he also is ponied up and is gone for tier number 2 here, donating $55 a month to keep this going for the benefit of every single other person out there in the community. And then I have a third one, and that is, of course, Trip Trey Artipile, our good friend, fantastic guy here. No doubt he'll be along at some point as well this evening, and he joined up there on that lower level. Again, let me know, why do you not want to? Why does nobody want to join the Patreon? What am I doing wrong? What needs to change? If there's something that needs to change there, let me know. I'll absolutely do it. Anyway, let's get on with looking at the charts. Right now we can see RSR coming up to our target, blowing past the full measured move of this thing, and it's absolutely wonderful to see. As you can see here, that's the full measured move. If we'd gone for 3 take profits on this, have to do this Mitch Ray style. Okay, so let me just set this up here. I need to make this background color white. White. Right, this is how he does it. This is how he does it, ladies and gents. 3 profit taking targets. So the first one was at 60%, and that was hit straight away. Then we came back down and retested this. I'm doing too much. I'm already doing too much of the TA because Rich Ray doesn't do anywhere near as much as this. we came back down and hit our liquidity zone here at the 50 simple period moving average. Fantastic. And I've gone on subsequently to hit profit taking target number 2. Where's my other box? Give me another box. Oops. And we've come on, and what we've done since is hit profit taking target number 2. Now let's put in profit taking target number 3. By the way, I'll be sure to read back through all the comments after this video, so if there is something that you want to tell me about what I need to do differently to make it so that people are more inclined to actually join the Patreon, then that's cool. I won't miss that. I won't miss it. I will read it. And if anybody wants to ever get in touch with me directly, they can do so through the Discord. There will be links coming up. Nightbot will actually post them for us if you want to join the Discord. There's also links in the description down below. It's completely free. You're welcome to join. You can get in touch with me. Right up until I become too busy to help people, I always give a one-on-one direct advice. I mean, for instance, Silicander Shah, I don't know if you're out there watching this right now. If you are, quality. If not, then, you know, you should be here, mate. You know, he got in touch with me in the comments down below. You can see the effort that I went to answer this guy about trading here on YouTube, on the YouTube comments. Let's go check it out. So my videos. Where was the Cardano one? Don't think it was that one. I think it was it this one I was giving him the comments back on? Where are they? Doesn't seem to be this one. Maybe it's the other one. So have you ever seen anybody else? Are you reading this? I don't know if you can read it necessarily. Have you ever seen any other YouTuber care as much about his audience as I do? Have you ever seen this on YouTube? Anybody care just as much? This is a guy who I'd never spoken to before, and instead of telling him to donate to the channel, to do whatever, instead of shoving anything in his face, blocking him from achieving his goals, instead I decided that I would help him. This is typical, by the way, typical from me. What do I need to do? What do I need to do to get the Patreon numbers to go up? You tell me. Tell me in the chat. So if you have seen it, that's quality. Let me know who they are. I'm massively and absolutely not a YouTube monogamist. If anybody knows anybody out there in the land of TA which puts their audience as treats them with as much respect as I do, because I revere and love my audience, if you see them out there, then please share their links here in the comments. Let us all know who it is. Let us know. I really let us know, you know. Mr. M. Patel, I can vouch for that. Rocky spent some time with me today explaining the basics. There we have another person there coming in and vouching for me. Let me know, everybody, what I need to do to really win the hearts and minds, because like I say, we're ticking, it's ticking down now. Ticking down. We have less than 11 months left of free outcrop educational material on the thingy. Anyway, like I say, today Mitch Ray episode, so I'm going to massively go on and on and on about the Patreon. That's, you know, the main focus of today's episode is going to be me talking about Patreon, and then of course as well I'm going to show you some various targets on price action, and I'm going to admonish everybody for not getting in earlier on onto trades. Okay, I mean, for instance, I did a live stream back over here talking about RSR when it was down in this range. Do you remember? In around about this zone it was. Yep, definitely in this chunk of time here. TradeSpotting came onto the channel live, talked about 2 or 3 hot different coins to be invested in: RSR, OneCoin, that's Harmony, and something else, when it was in this range. So as in the inimitable style of Mitch Ray, it's your own fault, it's your own problem for not having got in on that. It's your own fault. Blame yourself, feel terrible. That's what Mitch Ray would want you to do right now. I really do love the guy, by the way, really do love the guy. I think he's absolutely fantastic, but let's face it, that's how he would respond to people talking about that. So yeah, cool. Need to go on to Bitcoin because of course that's what this show is primarily about. Let's just move on to Bitcoin just here real quick. Bam 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 ba-dum bam 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 ba-dum. So here we have it, and I suppose, wait, this is maybe the wrong Bitcoin chart for me to have up. Cool, we've hit our targets along the way, so I need to get rid of all of the educational material, sorry, here off of this, because we're doing a Mitch Ray style stream today, so nothing which is too revealing in terms of education here. So normally what I would do is I would explain all of this to people, as you know, and you would go away from it having learned something. Today, not happening, I'm afraid. We're still good. Everything's good. This is what Mitch Ray would be saying right now. Everything's good. Everything's fantastic here on this one. I need to put in 3 profit taking targets. So let me just real quick grab those for us. Mitch Ray chooses profit taking targets based off of Fibonacci extensions, by the way. So we had our measured move first off, 60% style. That's profit taking target number 1. It's over the price action. That was a bit hard to see. Profit taking target number 1 hit. Profit taking target number 2, we're going to call it at around about 50 grand for profit taking target number 2. So let's just say there we are, so close to it, so close, not actually managed to do it quite yet. And then number 3, there you go. Remove that so it doesn't seem so obvious where they came from. There's our 3 profit taking targets. That's it. That's all the Bitcoin technical analysis you're getting today, ladies and gents. Oh wait, no wait, there's something missing. He only uses the MACD. Oh, actually he's recently started using the RSI as well, so I'll leave the RSI on. Leave the RSI on, just hide these other guys. Not going to talk about the DMI or anything complicated, don't worry about that, guys. Today, no, that's not happening. Just keeping it nice and simple. Everything's simple today. Need to get rid of these lines. They're too educational. Excuse me, hold on a second. Too much education. Need to get rid of the education. I know I sound bitter, by the way. I'm not bitter at all. I know I sound it, but this is the Mitch Ray stream. He has a really, he sounds like he's got a really bad attitude all of the time. I think he's fantastic, by the way. I went on and donated. If you're just tuning in, I donated to his show yesterday and told him well done for getting 3 years. I'm really super proud of him and all the contribution he's made to the community. And I think he's a really excellent, legendary guy. Fantastic stuff. Really, really great guy. Deserves every good thing that comes his way. But let's face facts as well. He's an incredibly bitter person a lot of the time. So, whereas, you know, I talk about love constantly on the channel. Not everybody's cup of tea, but you know, I love my audience, I love my friends, I love my family, I love people. Let's draw in. That's kind of useless, but it's what I'm pretty sure is like what you'd want to have. No, we're on the too high a time frame. It's too high a time frame. Sorry, 4 hour time frame would be better. Cool, got a bit of the old bearish divergence over there. Let me just, bullish divergence. Let me just pop this on. There we go. This is the mixed ray TA for today. Bitcoin. Next target up's 50 grand. Next target after that's 57,000 or so. If you're worried about not having got in here, then, well, you know, it really sucks to have not known to get in on a retrace back down again, where you back test the wedge. Of course, that's the wrong word, but you retest the wedge, where you back test the wedge. So we back tested the wedge, went towards the top side afterwards. So you were so you know, you missed it, guys. Don't know what to tell you. You missed it. We're about to explode up the way towards 50,000 and 57,000. That's what we're about to do. We're about to explode up the way. Now, of course, that's Mitch Ray technical analysis. Let me be very clear. That's the Mitch Ray technical analysis. Kitch Ray, should stop saying Mitch. This is Kitch Ray. This is welcome to the Kitch Ray technical analysis. We're about to explode up towards 50,000. It's extremely risky for you to get in right now. You missed the move. That's Kitch Ray for you. All the time, constantly. You missed the move, guys. It's too late. You missed it. We're about to go to 57,000. I know that that represents, in terms of a movement up from where we are now, 30%, 36% increase in price. 36% increase in price. But I'm going to completely and absolutely undermine your confidence when it comes to trading and make you feel compelled to join the Patreon, because if you'd been in the Patreon, you'd have known that how to get in on this. I can't tell you what to do now. I know 35%. I know 35%. I know that risk management is a thing, but we're not going to talk about risk management. We're not going to talk about things about what the significance of the 236 Fibonacci is here that we're on. There's your 3 targets. Does anybody want me to do any more technical analysis on this? Does anybody want me to do more on this? We're doing it Mitch Ray style, so I'm really limited on what I actually can do. Maybe try to create a coalition with another quality YouTuber, build an empire. Fantastic. Well, I've got TradeSpot in here. He's part of my coalition. And like everybody out there, you know, if you want me to take a look at your channel, I'll do it live on stream. I'll talk about it, and I'll make sure everybody know. I've promoted several different channels. Obviously, we're talking. I've promoted Mitch Ray and Crown so many times. You know, so many times I've spoken about them and the quality of technical analysis that they actually, you know, that they can do, that they do deliver a lot of the time. And they're the only two that I, you know, really fully endorse. But there's other people out there that are really, you know, nice people, like Crypto, great guy if you like a bit of if you like a sort of a fast-speaking personality guy. And then you've got other people like Magic Internet Money, of whom his technical analysis I've never really watched much before, but I know he's a nice guy, and he recommended people over to this channel, and he was recommended to, you know, he came along and said hi because somebody who I do trust, Peter Hewer, really good trader, one of the outcropticians out there. He's a member of the channel, one of the very first people to have subscribed to the channel, an absolute legend. I love him very, very much. Really fantastic guy. He recommended he told Magic Internet Money about me and says that he thinks he's good. So in that case, I'll you know, pass on that endorsement to all of you if you want to go search for Magic Internet Money on YouTube and see his channel out there. There's other people as well that have been told by people that they like, such as Crypto Newton. Crypto Newton subscribed to my channel a long time ago and copied my TA several times for Chainlink and stuff like that. So anyway, you know, cool, whatever. But there's lots of them. Start telling us good advice on crypto instead of begging for Patreon subs. I'm sorry, my trade. This is the Mitch Ray stream. Maybe you didn't catch the memo. If you want to see good advice on technical analysis and that, tune in all the other time. I do it all the time. Over a year now, I've delivered undoubtedly the best technical analysis on the entire internet. It's definitely, without a shadow of the doubt, the best. In fact, let's just go over to something like what do we want to look at to kind of drive that point home with the guy. By the way, my trade, you know, I did say to you, you're allowed to share your channel here and I could promote it or whatever. Don't be too thingy. By the way, if telling people good advice on crypto encouraged them to join up to the Patreon, then I'd have more than 3 patrons. Okay, if that was the truth, somebody in the chat tell my trade what the chat is, because oh, Gank, he already did straight away. He does give a lot of advice in fairness. There you go, straight away you got told. There you go. When I hit 2k, I will for sure get in on your Patreon. Budget is so tight. Child support is up. John, I'm not wanting to. There's no guilt out here. There's no guilt. Nobody, not a single one of you owes me anything. You don't owe me anything. I do this for you because I have so much respect for the audience, and I really care about you. I care about you so much, you know, so much. It's difficult to actually articulate just how much I care about you. I really do. Don't feel, nobody should feel guilty. The only thing is, if you do see the value here and you want it to continue because you want other people to come along, then do it, you know. For instance, Kevin, he's a spanner guy here, he's one of the moderators, great guy, made $59,000 in a single trade the other day, you know. He's not actually on the Patreon, that's fine, he's a moderator here, I'm not like, you know, no guilt, whatever. But what is it when somebody makes $59,000 on a trade, and we talk about stuff all the time, you know, what is it that's the gap between what do I do to get them on a Patreon? That's what I'm asking people here. So yeah. Yeah, cool, right, anyway. So, by the way, oh, that Martini guy, he's a really nice guy. He's really nice guy. That Martini guy, we talk to each other. We're friends on Twitter and everything else. I can't vouch for him because I don't watch his TA. I don't honestly know how good his TA is. Look at that Swisher. Look at that Swisher V baby. You are amazing. Let's do it, man. Let's do Ethereum. Just before we jump onto Ethereum though, just so that you all know, I massively think that that Martini guy, really nice guy. I really like the guy. I think he's a really sound bloke, and he helped me get going when I started on YouTube with advice about sound and video quality and stuff like that. Really great guy. I just can't vouch for somebody whose TA I've never really watched before. I know that one, he's an actual trader like me, full-time trader, makes his income from trading, and I know that he's been really successful at it as well. So I can vouch for him on that point, and I think that he's a good guy, and I you know, absolutely. So go and check out that Martini guy on YouTube sometime. Shout out to that Martini guy. I'm subscribed. If you subscribe and you want to, you know, get notifications, etc., and you're doing that on my channel, do that, you know. His TA is basic along the lines of Crypto, but that Martini guy has a great personality, just not top-notch TA. John, that's kind of what I thought maybe would be the case, you know. It's kind of what I thought was the case, you know. And he's really good at YouTube, excellent at YouTube, right? So but I don't know because I've not watched enough of it. Magic Internet Money, here we go. Another good guy, another person who, you know, it does well. 191 videos, 1,000 subscribers. I tell you what, I'd put out 500 videos, I think, by the time I got to 1,000 subscribers. He's doing better than I am, so well done to him, you know, well done to him. Again, I think fairly basic TA, I think it is, I'm not too sure. He put out a video 41 minutes ago. 41 minutes ago he put out a video. Let's give him a thumbs up, say, give him a comment. There you go, you know. Fantastic, wonderful stuff. Like, you know, these are the sorts of things that people can do to help the channel grow if they want to. It's not easy, it's not difficult, sorry, I say it's not difficult. There you go. Look, it's not hard, okay? It's not hard to help. But if you want this channel to keep going into next year, those are the sorts of things people need to start thinking about doing, because it's not going to do it on its own, okay? And it's so easy. It's so easy. And I've got no problem helping people out. No problem at all. And I really don't understand the attitude of Brad Fisher in your man's stream last night. So I was paid to look at this, and it's so Swisher, you paid me to look at it, but then again, you know, as well, we are doing the Mitch Ray stream, so I'm not going to go into extreme details on things here overall. So I need to remove. Actually, I'll just jump to a different chart where I don't have that drawn on there. Here we go instead. This is better. Is this not? Was that drawn in linear or something? Not sure why that's not lining up properly. Just a second or two here. Don't know why that wasn't lining up. Just let me double check here as well. Yeah, so our next target on this one remains at $2,000. We've not made it there quite yet. If you were watching Mitch Ray last night, then of course the FOMO about getting into this for the rise up was unreal. It was ridiculous. Of course, the TA at the time sucked because, as you can see here, we've only gone down really since Mitch Ray was streaming live. Let's be honest about things. I mean, let's face facts, you know. But the FOMO was real. It was palpable FOMO, and that still remains in place. What we're looking for is our target. This is the measured move off of a wedge over here, right? It's not necessarily the full measured move, okay, but I think the full measured move is always a bit greedy when you're looking at coming up towards a round number target, and as well the top end of our pitchfork. So we have this pitchfork in the background. We've had it for a long time, and it's been showing us the way for a long time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 times it was perfect. 7 perfect. Extreme details, please. Swisher V baby. All right, mate. Okay, look. Okay. We are interrupting tonight's programming to bring you emergency extreme detail TA, because of course that is the demand of the audience. But still, we've got this pitchfork, right? And this has been of great detail for us. Wait a minute. Shush. Magic Internet Money. You're still talking. Stop talking, Magic Internet Money. Sorry about that, everybody. Didn't realize he was playing in the background. Go away, Lunar Crush. It's really annoying. I gave them a shout out yesterday. Shouldn't have, or last time, Monday. Shouldn't have bothered. We're still online for our target towards the top side. We've broken out of the wedge so far. We've come back down and actually successfully retested it as part of these movements overall. This wedge at the top end lines up with the top side of our pitchfork. That's of no real coincidence to us. You know, if you want to draw this in yourself, then you can follow along the lines of what I did before as well to get it. Coming in from the lows over there on the 18th of December, going up to the highs that we had on the 14th of February, and down to the lows there on the 14th, or the 13th of March, Friday the 13th of March. Is what I've been calling it because it's Friday the 13th. 14th of March there on that one, and that's where you get that pitchfork from. By the way, the type of pitchfork that this is an original pitchfork, and I've also added an extension to it towards the top side. As you can see, that's the 1.5. That gives us our top end extension on this one, and as we can see, it's operated perfectly, including at the top end of this wedge during the most recent price action. The next target does take us up towards the top side. We're currently sat in here at this fib level. Looking over to the left, where do we think that this fib level comes from? Well, it's not anything recent, let's be clear about it. It's actually all the way over here that you need to go. In fact, let me just jump up to something big time frame style to show you. It's actually coming from the all-time highs that we previously had all the way down to the market cycle lows. Doesn't seem to line up perfectly there. That's not like me. Let me just make this line up perfectly. Sorry. Generally speaking, I make things line up perfectly. And what we can see then is that the next target towards the top side is the 1.272. Oh, sorry, this is the currently, you know, our upper side target at the minute from where we are right now is that 1272 Fibonacci retracement point in there at $1,795. $1,800 is what we called our target previously, and of course we've hit that and seen it coming back down the way. This is what they missed out about talking about in last night's Mitch Ray stream, because they didn't mention how we'd come up and hit a target and then we're due for a bit of a pullback there afterwards as people took profits. Now, does that mean that the story's come to an end? Not quite yet, but we do obviously have to be aware. Let's just check in as well to see if we've got bearish divergence or anything like that on the go. Up here we can see that the next target thereafter is at $2,262. That's the 1.618, and we have another target thereafter as well, and it's actually going to take us all the way high as $3,101, and that's the 2.24. Those are actually both perfectly reasonable targets, but of course the main focus at the minute is whether or not we're able to capture that 2,262 point of view over there, and bringing up the weekly time frame and drawing in and showing you that, of course, the VPVR here, it only covers all of the previous price action, all the data from the past, because we're now in, of course, as people like to mislabel it, price discovery mode. By the way, for everybody who wants to know about being accurate when you talk about things, it's simple economics 101. Everything's in price discovery mode all the time, including the Coca-Cola that you buy out of a vending machine. Price discovery mode is how economics work. That is actually the you know, the supply and demand cross chart that you'll have seen. That's what price discovery is. At its core, price discovery involves finding a price where supply and demand meet. In economics, the supply curve and demand curve intersect at a single price, which allows the transaction to occur. Okay, so do you see what I'm saying? This is a bit of education for you. This is it. So when people say price discovery mode, if they're in a professional setting, then people would look at them a little bit squinty-eyed because it's like, what are you talking about? Nevertheless, here we are, and that's what we're looking at. We've seen decline in volume at the point at which we've broken past our all-time highs. Is that okay? Yes, it's okay. You see, what it takes is significantly less volume to actually push prices once you've gone past the points at which everybody was kind of relinquishing the liquidity that they'd held on to since the previous all-time high. Okay, and then you're in a new area, and this new area is of course is, when people like to talk about price discovery mode, an exploration of this feature where you have supply and you have demand. Now, what we have is a diminishing amount of supply, and of course as well, actually, you'll notice a diminishing amount of demand. And the reason for that is because, of course, people want to see whether or not we break back down past our areas, and that is why it's so important to take out the 1795 zone and really, you know, firmly do that on a daily closing candle basis, and move up to the 1618 at that $2,200, because it's this interaction between supply and demand where the supply is obviously limited but the demand is limited too, and it takes less demand to push past when you've got a reduced supply, and that's natural. So what you're going to see is a diminishing volume, despite the fact that, of course, we broke out past previous structures. So even though we've got a potential, you know, currently we're looking at this and saying we've got a breakout. This is the weekly time frame, by the way, even though, so you can see this has been quite a while. So we've got this diminishing volume throughout this entire section here. Even though we've got this kind of breakout happening, it makes you wonder. Now, what we also talk about is the fact that whenever you get a breakout which doesn't actually necessarily, you know, when that quite often what you then see is the relationship between these things operating as outside of the norms of what people would look to in terms of just the headline meme aspects when it comes to understanding wedges. Instead, what they look was you know, people look for like extreme moves to get and follow through thereafter, when in actual fact, quite often what you simply see happening in it around about wedges, etc., is them turning into a parallel channel. If you include the initial impulse up here, it creates a massive gap not gap, you know, but in terms of the area back down below and the width on that channel, it's huge, and I don't think that that's a fair representation of the current channel that we're in. And the reason for that is because of the 50 simple moving average here, which would change the conditions on the ground, exists, you know, quite clearly within the scope of that parallel channel that I was talking about a second ago. So instead, really what we're looking at is the wedge itself, and this is the area of the parallel channel. Zooming on in then and saying that what we really want to see happening, if we need to find support coming in here at 1630, that's okay. I actually start to get worried here at the 1300 at the 1400 zone, and there'll be a few reasons for that, of course, as well. You know, you're moving past back into the pitchfork overall there with that one, but a really easy way to make that assertion about why this would be a worrying zone is to simply look at the biggest impulse down the way until, you know, preceding our rise towards the top side. Okay, so what you would then do at this point is you would take a Fibonacci from this area of our biggest low on the run up to it and pop it in here at the highs, and you can see that the 236 comes in here at $1,500. So going down to $1,400 is actually a break of that 236. It opens up opportunities to come in, and of course we know that the $1,000 down to 900 or so, that range of it really that you have there, represents the current golden pocket zone on a Fibonacci retracement if we were to break these areas. So we don't want to see that happening. Incidentally as well, you know, like the you could, if you wanted to, put this whole thing into a wedge from the point of which we're, you know, past just here where we saw that we didn't actually manage to take out the previous high in this area, and also we didn't come in here and put in a very satisfactory higher low. If you look from that area, you can see that that actually forms a wedge going up the way too, and that's of course no real coincidence, because you've got this consolidation type, this consolidation feeling here. This is whenever the psychology in the market actually had its first inflection in the face of going up the way, and it gave us an opportunity to consolidate and then get a breakout here. And the reason that we got a breakout here, of course, is actually because, you know, this was an this was an ascending triangle at this zone, okay? And this is this week of price action or so in here was then of course an ascending triangle, and then the measured move off the back of that is, lo and behold, the exact move up to where we are right now. So the overall structure that we're looking at with regards to these two combined together is of course a wedge towards the top side. And you know, this is what gives you the ability, if we draw it in along these sorts of lines, gives you the ability to say, well, where you could see price action going if it were to retrace down the way. And it's no great surprise really. It's the exact same tantamount thing, is exactly the same. It's just taken the true range of this period of time. It's just to saying that we could move another of the average true range of this period of time down the way, and that's how these things go together. If you were to break out from this, then it takes you back down towards that $1,500 target, the $1,400 zone. So we could see prices going as low as $1,400 on Ethereum and then continuing up the way. What you want to look at is the dynamic that exists in here on the lower term time frames should you see a pullback of that nature. We can see that the 50 simple is of course right at where the price action is, so we don't want to see that happening, and we can get early warning signs for us if we do break down past 1666, let's call it. But we know here then overall that the 200 simple, where you'd hope to find your next bounce on the 4-hour time frame, is starting to line up with, and if we did say a breakdown towards the lower side, probably will actually neatly line up with that 1400 zone, giving you really fantastic entries if you were to get one. But that is based on accepting the risk of having moved past 1500 where the 236 Fibonacci is. Of course, you know, breaking that on a daily time frame basis and not recovering it within a day or two would signal the chances of you going down further down thereafter as being about 80-20. You know, you're looking at an 80% likelihood that you'd actually see further retracements down the way should we see prices dropping down past that 1820 zone. But there's not all negatives out there at all in any way whatsoever. Looking at this recent move up the way on the 4-hour time frame, we can see that we've got very much got hidden bullish divergence here on the 4-hour time frame at this period where we had the touch off of the 50 simple moving average, and it's organically stepping towards the top side, coming in here for what is potentially a higher low. I'm hesitant to call it a higher low right now, because as we can see here, if this is a higher high and then this is a local low at the minute, then that puts this in as having been bearishly divergent towards the top side. That's not really quite enough price action for that. And overall, if you were to put a gun to my head and make me express an opinion, I would say that that my opinion is that we actually go on up the way, and that in the fullness of time, this area here doesn't look like either a higher low or a higher high at all, and simply is just part of the flux along the way. Where do we see instances of flux along the way in the past? Well, there's hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds of examples of where you find, where you could say, was this a lower high and a lower low and part of something along the way? Well, actually, in actual fact, this is just the in-between flux of a low followed by a higher high, followed by a higher low, followed by a higher high, followed by a higher low, etc, etc, etc. So are we in that zone right now? Well, that's my opinion, but the TA would say to me that if we break down below the 1450 area, the chances are that you'd be looking then to 1400 area. The chances are you'd be looking down towards the 200 simple coming in here and asking if it could actually operate as support. What would be the danger of that then at that point? Well, overall, we wouldn't be breaking market structure, because from the previous area where we had this wedge at, we wouldn't have taken out the previous wedge, the wedge which is in effect taking us up to where we are now. So this is the key area for us to stay above in the longer term time frame. Then we could be moving up the way. That's what the MACD is telling you in terms of its histogram just now. If you're interested, by the way, in terms of what the signal line and the other one's telling you, is that we're actually up here at the top seeing a cross having happened. So you could get an impression suggestion off this 4-hour time frame that you were to be going towards the downside, and that of course flies in the face of the hidden bullish divergence that you're seeing on the chart here if this were to then drag on down the way. And what do I mean by that? Well, I mean that if it were to go down past $1,500, then of course then this hidden bearish divergence is being superseded by that cross that happened, and we're actually going to have to look up towards a bigger time frame to find resolution on this thing and how it actually fits in together. Because as we can see here on the daily time frame, if we do go down the way, then we're looking at bearish divergence among these tops, and of course we'll be breaking the 236 at that time, which is what lines up with my own opinion that of course we could see and we probably should be looking for, and follow through and continuation towards the top side currently as it stands, because that's where the market overall would like it to go to. However, when the market gets, when participants in the market get their fingers burnt, then of course that's when you get the liquidity being provided, thrown on in great chunks, massive amounts, just chucked straight onto there, in terms of people cancelling out and saying that the risk at that point is no longer worth taking, which provides increased liquidity towards the downside, and that's when visible bearish divergence really kicks you in the teeth thereafter if you actually make a play off of it. And you watch the prices cascade towards the downside thereafter. Let me just bring up the my object tree and get rid of some more of these brush marks. Excuse me as I do this real quick. And I'm not finished yet, by the way. There's more detail to come, by the way, for the guy that, whoever it was again, my trades with a H, that said that what I need to do to get more Patreons on here, who is obviously, this is the first episode that he's obviously tuned into ever, is completely unfamiliar with the sheer depth of and the scope that I go to, while only using a couple of indicators, because what we do in the channel here is keep things all nice and easily integratable with your own TA. What I fully expect of you as the audience member is probably to be using something of your own. I'm not a massive fan, and I don't use, for instance, on a daily basis, the likes of Elliott wave analysis, but if that appeals to you and you do use it, that's totally fine, and you can go ahead and combine that with what we're looking at now for the key areas. By the way, for people who are interested in what Elliott wave is all about, make sure that you actually study the Fibonacci relationship with Elliott wave, because if you're just looking at drawing lines on and coming up with Elliott wave stuff out of your ass, then you're not doing it right. It really is a strict thing. In fact, if there's two disciplines in terms of trading which want to both at the same time approach the market in a specific way and say that they're unique, but which have got extreme amounts of overlap, it's harmonics and Elliott wave. If you want to look at those, go ahead, study harmonics by Scott Carney, study Elliott wave by, of course, Elliott, and then put the two things together and come up with ideas of your own about how you want to interact with the markets. Mitch Ray loves a harmonic, for instance. Right now, a lot of people out there would dispute what I just said. A lot of them would do, but what the reasoning behind it is because what you're looking at is successive periods of a succession of Fibonacci retracements, and then the interrelationship between those. When one's moved to one point and moved to another point thereafter, that is actually the guts and glory of harmonics and Elliott wave. Right? Anyway, we're not done here. What we're seeing on the DMI is that we have actually got the strength of trend in place here, and we're moving towards the top side. Now there is this little kind of question mark coming in at this point over here. Why have I not got an arrow on that? I want arrows. No, that's backwards. That's the wrong way around. Cool. So what we're looking at here is that this came up higher and put in a degree of potentially divergence here. This is 24-hour time frame, so we already know that past this point here we've simply gone up towards the top side, and that is where this divergence, this is what the divergence is that I'm talking about at this point here, because it got so high and we didn't actually achieve anything higher since. You could be looking at this and saying, if we get a pullback, then of course we've got divergence on the DMI, which is something that not a lot of people look to, but it's absolutely something that you can do between these areas. And that would be confirmation for you if we break down past the 236 that maybe we've got a bit more to go in terms of offering up decent rebuy areas for the overall continuation of the bull market, should we manage to stay above that 950 area now, which I'm currently going to call the Alamo point, because breaking down past that would be very, very unhealthy for the market. Right now we can see that the difference, you know, that there's a nice big spread between the positive and the negative, and of course the ADX itself is above 30. But what we were talking about in the recent episode with regards to Ethereum was wanting to see the positive actually break above the 30 line over here in the DMI, and it hasn't achieved it quite yet, which is why it was obviously very, 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 very silly last night for the Mitch Ray crowd to be extremely bullish about Ethereum at the time, because there was technical reasons were actually coming out the wazoo to tell you that you probably ought to have a little bit of circumspect, judicious kind of, you know, hold your horses type analysis with this one until such times as we actually get follow through on the oscillators down below. And what's that mean to you? Well, it means that we're kind of coming in here and finding that things are ratcheting up a little bit and getting a little bit tighter. And of course then what we could see is an explosive move as people who are kind of standing on the sidelines get left behind, and that's fair enough. And what that means to you to do in terms of your own analysis is to really strictly manage your risk in around about several different areas. By the way, for anybody who's interested, we're not doing any technical analysis on any other coin or stock or anything that's going to be anywhere near as detailed as this tonight. Even if people come along and ask for it, it just simply is not going to happen. I'm doing this because I want to draw the contrast between what we normally do and how I normally explain things, and kind of to rub it in the face of my trades, of course, as well, who said give a bit of advice and maybe people would join the Patreon, and that because, you know, that was a sarcastic thing for him to say, and well, was not welcomed by me, to be perfectly frank with you. Then we're looking over here and we're seeing that we came down as far as the 382 in terms of the recent high, the recent low to high in terms of Fibonacci. So we've gone past the 236 over here, creating a valid Fibonacci, finding support at this area. Looking at the VPVR, you can see that of course we really wanted it to kick in at some point, and we actually had to dig into the previous areas of liquidity to actually get that to happen. Now that's fair enough, because of course it's fair enough, but what this means is that we took out this particular previous high along the way, and that's not particularly good. Okay, failure to take out this target up here at the 1760s is going to be quite negative. By the way, that music is doing my head in now. I'm going to go to a different copyright-free music channel. That was fun and everything, but let's get a different one up here. This is a different one. Right, whatever. I don't actually know what this music sounds like. Sounds pretty crap, to be honest with you, to begin with. Sounds pretty awful. Sounds pretty awful, but I think it might kick in and be decent at some point. Right, we'll leave it on for now anyway and see how it goes. So yeah, at this point here is obviously crucial for us. We discussed a similar concept as well about the 1795, and you know how important it is to take out 1795, and of course 1765 is really key for us right now. Short term, you can see that people are obviously taking shorts off the back of this level, happy enough to take profit at 1, 2 and 3 different targets for us if you were to be shorting this towards the downside, coming in there at $1,709, $1666 as we already spoke about, all the sixes, 16666, and then 1600 as well, going down as far as perhaps, you know, 1600 for that golden pocket if you are just playing this short term looking for a retracement. What does that mean in terms of the bigger picture? Well, it simply means that you're looking at this and saying that somewhere in amongst here there was a high, somewhere in here there was a low, somewhere in here there's a high, and then somewhere in here there would be a low if you were to come back down towards that target. The most realistic sort of easy entry target for you if you're looking for a retrace to rebuy on this would be that $1,600 level, and of course that's a 10% drop down from where we are right now. So we're not wanting that to happen in any way, shape or form, but that is the reality that we're looking at. We're below the 50 simple period moving average over here on the 1 hour time frame. The 4 hour time frame of course showing you that we're still above it, but this is 1666 is where the 50 simple moving average, it's 50% area comes in at for us on that one. So of course that's how you would have to manage that. Easy enough if you want to go long on this one as well, to simply take a long off the 382, managing your risk in about these zones. What way you would do that would be to say that you are of course looking at things along these sorts of lines. Now it does position it slightly difficult for you in a sense of like having to kind of hope for exact price targets to be met, but you can easily achieve 5 to 1 risk to reward of easily easily by stopping out before you get down to these areas and then saying, right, well, we didn't make that one, but that would have been 5 to 1 going back up the way. Maybe we'll make a trade like this, or maybe we'll make a trade like this. If we did do this one, this would be ideal, and I'd obviously then extend that down a bit there and say that you got your 5 to 1 coming in with a full move up towards the top side. Currently, though, the move to be had, I suppose, with regards to Ethereum is to be getting in at around about, I'm not a financial advisor, none of what I say is financial advice, always do your own research, do not construe or misconstrue anything that I say as being tax or financial or investment or any other type of advice. I'm not a financial advisor, always do your own research. What you'd be looking at here for the best move at the minute, if I was to trade this myself, which I'm, right now, I would be simply saying that that you could be coming off the back of one of these things and looking for a decent area to be getting in at. The way to manage your risk then thereafter is to choose a couple of different profit taking targets, bearing in mind that to move up towards the top side here is a 7% move, but then you also have the higher targets thereafter, and it'd be easy enough to keep something like 25% of your trade on the go for, in the hopes that that single 25% would make more than the previous 75% which you took profit on the way up, giving you a highly profitable endeavor with rather low risk overall. Keep my eye out for that $700 as a pivot in the near term. We're still not done, okay? We're still not done. We just talked about the DMI and put it into the context of how we could look at this needed to go above 30, hasn't managed to do so. We're coming in for some Rick and Morty lips here on the 4-hour time frame. That's fair enough, we often see that happen as well, but we're still not done. We need to take a look at the stochastics on the 24-hour time frame. We actually have them pointing towards the top side. They've not crossed over yet. I would be looking at this as being more of a canary in the coal mine for us. A cross over here. This is crap. This music's crap. Give me a second. Skip right into this one and see if it gets any better. Right. Okay, we'll skip. We'll also not listen to that one too much either, actually. I'll stick it back on because I want to have music. Somebody want to drop a link to some copyright free music in the chit chat, then I'll stick it up on the stream and we'll use that in the background instead if anybody has anything in particular that they like. Unfortunately, I can't use Frithm's music that I used in the past that I really like because of copyright issues. I would look at this as a canary in the coal mine. Seeing a crossover here in the 24-hour time frame, of course, would be that negative inspiration for you. You'd probably see that in around about the 236. We're seeing already in the 4-hour that we've got a cross extended down the way, and instead, if you're looking to get in on moves, then let's see if we can find support in here if we need to, which we do. We need to. So we need to find support in here, and then perhaps get another cross over here on the stochastics. I want to see this not actually need to go for a full movement down the way. As we can see in the recent past here with regards to Ethereum, there's been little sort of fakey territories in around about the point when we're approaching the median line of this thing. So we could see a little turnaround here only for it to cascade down the way. How does that actually transpired in terms of the pricing towards the top side? Well, you can see we moved down the way, came in here for a little crossover, then moved down the way. Going back to previously, we were moving up, we came down, got a little bit of a bounce and a resurgence, moved on down the way. Therefore, in terms of how you would actually apply that knowledge to your trading, if you're trading this off the back at this bounce at the 382 at the minute, and say you'd got in at 1700, it would probably be, if I were you, now again, I'm not a financial advisor, and this specifically is not advice to you, but one thing that you could do, of course, if you wanted to, would be to take profit in at this area just a little bit of your trade in order to cover off any potential fees or stops that you might have, at which point you could even put a stop, which of course overall is in loss on your position, but balances you out, keeping you with a clean, without actually having really risked anything on the overall trade that you're trying to do. Okay, so that's how you would manage that in detail, and that's how you would take advantage of these things I'm talking about with regards to, of course, the stochastics indicator over there for us. Stretching out the no sure thing indicator, this again in similar to many other moving averages or indicators. Sorry, this music is absolutely gash. It's absolutely gash, this music. Where's my tab that's got it on? It's absolutely gash. Copyright free EDM. Let's go for some of this. Best music mix, no copyright EDM gaming music. Let's go for gaming music. How long does this last for? Just give me a little thing. An hour, right? So I've got an hour before I need to worry about things again. Right. By the way, oh, Tony, so good to see you, my friend Tony. So good to see you. I hope you're doing well. I hope you're doing very well. I hope you were dancing on top of the Algorand rooftops over the last wee while. It's so good to see you, Tony. I hope you, like I say, I hope you're doing well. Don't want to repeat myself too much. The No Sure Thing indicator giving us this exact story that I'm talking about right now. You know, the two things are almost running in parallel to sight. Oh my God, this is far too dubstep. This is for the kids, hey? This is for everybody who got into electronic dance music after the year 2005. Oh, that's crap. That's so crap. Let's just jump on in a wee bit so we can get past the initial crapness. Maybe, right? So what you're seeing is these two things lining up to the side. You know, they could cross, you know, or they could go up the way. Take this again as well as an early indicator for you in terms of where you could see the prices going over the next wee while. If this crosses down the way, then I would hope to see this coming in and not forming any sorts of divergences other than perhaps hidden bullish divergence. And at the minute what we'll be seeing is that if it crossed, that it would have bearish divergence on there, and that would maybe be kind of stinky, so we don't want to see that bearish divergence on there overall. Right, so okay, let me just see, where's SV, what was he called again? What were you called there? Swisher V Baby. How much more detail do you want, Swisher Freebird? Is that what I should search for, by the way? Are you telling me to search for Freebird for good music in the background? Are you Trey, or are you telling me? Are you talking to somebody else? Right. Okay, so Swisher, was that enough detail for you? I've laid it out. I've told you the macro. I've told you the big picture targets. I've told you where you would see things retracing down to. They asked for detail. I gave you extreme detail, giving you everything you would need to know. The only thing, I even actually a couple of times went as far as telling you exactly how to manage your trade, exactly where to take to how to manage it so you don't even lose any money whatsoever. Is it even possible? Yeah. Wait. Thanks, Rocky. Best TA I've ever seen anyone do. Okay, right. Swisher, thank you so much. Please consider subscribing to the channel, hitting that notification bell, and others among you out there, if you've not done so already, then maybe do that as well. I'm actually going to revert back to doing the Kitchery technical analysis. There will be no more like what I just did, but please rest assured that in every single episode that I've put out for over a year, it's been extreme detail along the lines of what I've provided, which Swisher just said is the best TA I've ever seen anybody do. Okay? Just to answer that guy who said earlier on about why people don't join the Patreon is because I'm not giving out advice, let me just say to you all that I'm being incredibly explicit here. The reason people are not joining the Patreon has got absolutely nothing to do with the quality of the content I'm putting out. People are taking advantage, and what that means is that at the end of the day, or actually New Year 2022, if I'm not making $7,500 per month on Patreon from donations from people who can see the value here and are willing to pay it forward to help other people join to continue to get this technical analysis, I'm going to stop doing it, okay? Because it is extreme value, and if I went private and charged people $10,000 a year to be part of a private group, I could easily get 10 of them and get $100,000 a year for doing this level of technical analysis for people very, very easily. Instead, I'm not lying at all when I say that I genuinely care about the audience. I care about you so goddamn much that I've done this for free for so long. Please pay it forward and help it so that other people can continue to get it. Otherwise, I'll just make it proprietary and take it private, and it would be so easy for me to do. And you know what? The people who would join that would be my friends. I've already got friends out there as part of the community who would join that group. I already have them, okay? So I could do it right now if I wanted to.
but I don't want it. I don't want to. Instead, I'm asking for people to, not who owe me anything, but who want other people to benefit from this in the future, to pony up and do it, okay? That's what I'm talking about. Whatever your man was called on it, right? Okay, so that's it. That's it. Say it at the camera. Okay, that is what I'm talking about. I'm genuine. I could already close this all down and make it private and do, as Swisher V Baby says, the best TA I've ever seen anybody do. Exclusively private for a group. I already know more than 10 people who would pay that. I already do, you know? I already do, okay? I don't know what sort of level that you trade at, right? But you've got Tony there, for instance, who's saying that he would be happy to pay that. I don't want to charge just Tony $10,000 and take it so that we all run away off and become vastly wealthy on our own. I want everybody to get access to this information. I truly believe it can change people's lives for the better. Do you want that to happen? It takes a tiny little bit of generosity on your part in order to make it so it's possible for everybody else. Not one person out there owes me anything. I do not think any of you owe me anything. However, if you want future generations of Rocky Outcropticians to continue to benefit from this type of thing, then you've got the opportunity to make that happen. I'm not hiding it. I'm not being, you know, I'm not springing this out of the blue. We're talking, it's 11 months to go. We've got March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, and December, and this month of February for that to start being the case. But if it doesn't, I'm not joking. I will take this away and you'll be left with other people, the best of whom is Mitch Ray and Eric Crown. They're the best out there and they're not as good as me. It is quite obvious, okay? It's a fact in my mind, right? So let me just demonstrate that by going for the rest of the show doing Kitchery technical analysis. Thank you very much, by the way, to Swisher, by the way, for having said that. Look, Joel just came along to say, no need to explain, bro. Your TA history speaks for itself. Thank you so much. I'm only doing this, and this is a very unusual live stream for me, okay? This is extremely unusual. And by the way, Friday's live stream, completely back to normal, right? Okay, completely back to normal. But yesterday, I went into Mitch Ray's live stream to congratulate him for having got to 3 years of doing live streams. Do you know that Mitch Ray makes $150,000 a month on Patreon subscriptions alone? Do you know that? Do you know he's making over $1 million a year from people contributing to his channel to keep it going so that other people can get that TA, right? Did you know that? And I donated to him £5, you know, wasn't much, but the reason I did it at under 10 is because he has this, you know, $10 minimum thing if you want him to sort of read your comment out and all the rest of it. So at least that's my impression. So I put in $5, and what I wanted to say to Mitch Ray directly, and this is true, by the way, and it remains true despite what sounds like bitterness in my voice, which it isn't, because this is just passion, right? This is all this is passion, and I've got so much passion. What I said was, well done for having got to 3 years doing TA. Congratulations. You know, super happy for you. You're one of the only 2 people who I recommend on my TA channel. I said that I wanted him to know it, right? Because it's true, and this is it. I'm not pissing about here. This is as serious as you can get. This is like the 100 level in terms of serious TA that doesn't piss about, that you can possibly get anywhere on the internet, you know, including in private places. Like I say, this is better than what people pay for at levels higher than I've already said. This is better than what they're paying for, okay? And yet as well it comes with educational stuff and so much like respect for you at the same time. It's like, it's unique. Anyway, Brad Fisher, his mod there, told me it was bad taste and banned me from his Discord. He banned me from the Discord after having made that comment after I contributed $5. Now, Mitch Ray himself, full credit to him, thanked me for it, and I think he appreciated the comment. Now, I'm saying that is Brad Fisher was the one that had the problem, not Mitch Ray himself. I actually think, and I will continue to recommend Mitch Ray to people, because I do think that he's actually really, really good, which is why I've made this stream in honor to him today and called it Kitschray, and just for a bit of fun, tongue-in-cheek fun, okay? But in no small part. Sorry about that. In no small part of what I'm doing here today is really wanting to drive home the message about how important it is that we really start to get on board with what we're doing here, because I am not pissing about. I want to change your life for the better. I'm working really hard at it. How are you doing, Tony, by the way? Did you really love seeing Algo go up? I'd be in. See, there you go, Artie Pyle. I agree. Easily the best TA I've seen. This is what we're talking about here. This is so like, this is it. Swisher, I think people don't realize how good your tea is. Maybe $25 a month is too much. I'm not sure. Fantastic. Thank you so much for giving me some genuine feedback on that. What does everybody else think? What do you think that I should put on here? What do you think? This is 25. This is in dollar amounts. That's $25. Is that too low? Let me know. What do you think? Should I put them in? For instance, if I were to put on a level here right now, which was lower than this, right, what should it be, and would anybody join up to it? I mean, if it's true, Swisher, right, if it's true what you're saying there, and this is too low, and I don't think it is, right, I don't think that it is. I don't think that this is too low. I think this is nothing, right? I think this is nothing, and I think that this is nothing, right? This is why I chose 3 levels which are not that big a deal. I mean, let me just play this. Let me just do this, right? Let me just do this to put it into context, right? It's not about the numbers, it was about what you do at the end. What you do is the last words on that one from Sean Thomas. He donated that to me for nothing. He didn't, and I asked him, do you want me to take a look at a coin or anything? And he said no. He just wanted me to have it because he wanted me to have it, right? It's nothing, okay? If you're out there and you're operating with any degree of success in the market, sorry, actually, I just hit empty jar, so I just removed your coins from the thing, Swisher. I'm sorry about that. I should have left that in there. Well, it's too late now. In fact, it's not too late. I can replay your contributions, and then they'll appear in the jar. Sweet. If you know, so I think this is nothing, okay, right? But let me know what you think, right? If I were to do this right now, would people join it? My thoughts, Rocky. I think people expect a spoon-fed trade. They don't want to learn how to think for themselves. They don't want to apply themselves and make the effort. They aren't serious about it. That's it, Artie. I really don't want to have a Patreon full of people who aren't serious about it. I don't want that. I want to have a Patreon that's full of people who are serious about it. Full of them. That's what I want, you know? And the educational material that I've got on my channel right now for free, I'm going to move it over to Patreon, and I'm going to remake it, and I'm going to add extra stuff in. Let me just show you. Let's just go, since this is the Mitch Ray stream. Right? Mitch Ray. £110 a month. 1,229 Patreons. So 110 x 1229. $135,190 a month is what he gets. Let me just show you again. This is £110 per month. It's higher than any of the levels that I have. It's got that in there. So I don't know, Swisher, if it's true. I don't know if it is too much. And my thoughts are along the lines of what Trey says. I don't want people coming along to be part of the Patreon who aren't taking it seriously. When Mitch Ray can have 1,229 people out there taking it seriously. I know that there's thousands upon thousands upon thousands of people who do take this seriously, and I'd rather have them, you know? The problem is, the more capital you have, the more you make. It's exponential. So the people who are starting with £100, the £30 a month is rough. Totally agreed. I totally agree. And that's why I'm not asking them to do it, you know? I genuinely care so much about the audience that if you're starting with £100 and you want to learn to trade, I'm here for you. You can go onto the Discord and you can ask me how to trade, and I'll tell you, right, for free, okay? And you'll learn amazingly well, and so will the likes of Tony himself. Tony here, who's the one who made that comment, has a free, again, completely free to join and to be a part of live chat where you'll help anybody out to learn what they need to learn to get started, okay? So it'll help everybody for free. He isn't in this to rip anybody off, and neither am I, right? So, you know, that's what that's all about. Like, if you don't want to do it, that's fine. Which is why there isn't a $5 level. But if you do want to do it, then pony up and do it properly. That's kind of my idea, right? I don't know what you think about that, Tony, as well, but you know, and I know, that both of us are offering out all of this stuff for people who are at the start of their trading journeys to come along and do it for free, you know? So it's not, it's not there. I get it. I totally get it. Do you think I should have a lower level? We could run an experiment as well. I could put a lower level on there and we could see how many people actually, you know, want to do it. For instance, Tony himself there, he contributes whatever it is, I don't know, a tenner a month on YouTube just to be a nice guy. Artie Pyle, he contributes a tenner a month. You know, I don't know, man. I don't know, right? People could contribute $3.49 or £3.49 or something like that on YouTube. So what do we do? You know, what do we do? How do we make it? Because and again, like I say, this is an unusual stream. I'm not going to be like this on Friday, and I wasn't like it on Monday, and I wasn't like it last week, and blah 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 blah. But I want everybody to know that this is the way it is, and that and as well to know that the reason why I'm doing this is because I was disrespected in Mitch Ray's live stream last night by Brad Fisher, his mod, and I'm disgusted by that attitude, and I will happily share any other YouTube video or any other content creator or anybody out there who's trying to help people in any way. Myself, I'll happily do that for people. None of yous need to join my Patreon. None of yous need to. But let's figure it out together. Tell me why people aren't joining it. Tell me why. Let's move on with the TA anyway. We've got other things to cover. We already did Bitcoin. We already did Ethereum, and we're going to do Chainlink just now here. This is what you'll have seen people talking about Chainlink a few times recently. For instance, if you were looking at Mitch Ray, he called this an ascending triangle. It isn't, right? Now this is on my screen that it isn't. It didn't look like it was one on his screen either, to be honest with you, but it's what he was calling it. This music is totally gash. Does anybody agree, by the way? I think this music is gash. I'll skip into it a bit more. So he was calling it an ascending triangle, right? And it isn't, right? It isn't. Whereas what you could be calling it is a wedge, which is what it is, right? In my opinion. Now again as well, that's in my opinion, right? This is just in my opinion. This is my opinion only, right? Mitch is actually really good at what he does. Really good. So there's an argument to be made, whatever it is, on some particular time frame for this being an ascending triangle. Perhaps he was looking at it on the 4-hour time frame. Okay. And thinking that there's something in along these sorts of lines here, right? Fair enough, okay. We're waiting for the resolution of this currently in terms of this one being a wedge, right? This is what we are, and this is a 24-hour time frame. So there you go. There's differences of opinion. It matters about what time frame you look at, and there's a gestalt nature to charting where when you see one thing, it becomes what it is, you know, when it isn't necessarily that, etc. I just realized I've only had it on Top Chat this whole time instead of live chat the whole time, so I've missed some people's messages, to which I apologize. You know, to which I apologize for that, if I've missed your message along the way here. Sweet on you on Mitch's stream. I don't know what you're saying there, sorry, I just missed that. But I guess I don't understand abbreviations. I'm not really with abbreviations. Hey Patrick, his mod started giving him crap for it. Mr. Fisher, I think, or the other guy, lol, I'm just prating about, yeah, Brad Fisher. That's exactly it. By the way, is Fisher not the guy that did that Talking Heads cover? That was a really good cover of the Talking Heads song in the American Psycho format. What was that guy's name? That was a good tune. I really need to change this music. It's just so awful. Have you ever heard anything as bad as that? Let's just try something else. skipping into this one. All right, this is going to be a little bit more intense feeling, but it's kind of this is going to be a bit more intense feeling. It's progressive trance. Okay, if you grew up when people cared about the names of different types of house music, I talked about this in the channel in the past, then you'll know all about that. Otherwise, honestly, I don't care. Now, right, anyway, there's a couple of different ways that you could as well be looking at this right now, because this here kind of makes a lot of sense, where you just kind of reduce these lines up to kind of looking at where we are right now. And talking about it along this sort of a way, it isn't going to make a huge difference to what you're talking about really overall, because when we look over towards the wait a minute, what am I doing? Sorry, back off. I was just about to do the analysis. Instead, this is the mixed race stream. I'm sorry, I forgot completely. Sorry, you're not getting your explanation today. If you want that, you need to join the Patreon. Otherwise you're not getting it. Instead, what you're getting is a drawing on the chart, a measured move, 3 profit taking targets. Hold on, bear with me here, bear with me. 1, bear with me, bear with me. Hope you're bearing. These are maybe a bit too high, because it doesn't show you like where you play it from. Let's drag it down a little bit just to make it more in line with this breakout potential for here. So let's just do that. There's profit taken 2. Okay, and then profit taken, I don't think it's entirely, oh my god, look at this. Look at You'll make me cry, Artie. Trey, man, you'll make me. Yeah, you've done it. I just put out too much emotion, you know, far too much emotion in this stream, and I don't care, because I mean it all. Yeah, I know that it doesn't look good to do that, but I was so honest and passionate for so long that I brought all my emotions up to the surface, and then you kind of just pulled the rug out from underneath me there, RT. Sorry about that. Yeah, I'm passionate about it. I'm passionate about everything that we do here. I really want everybody to succeed. Everybody. Everyone. And I view the things that you do. This is embarrassing. Right. I have a trade on at the minute that has got... it's not just one trade. I've got several trades in my trading account where the unrealized profit and loss on them is sat in the multiple thousands right now. By the way, to people, and I'm super happy about it and everything. I'm not trying to blow my own trumpet, but I never ever talk about about my own trades on the channel because I think it's bad. I think it's bad to do that. I actually think it's unethical, and it's one of the things that I think is where the likes of Eric Crown is just wrong. I think ethically I just won't do that ever. But anyway, I could show you my trading account right now, and I'm not going to. It's sat there in thousands of dollars of profit right now, thousands, and it's great. It's fantastic. So the money itself that Artie Pyle does isn't going to change my life today or tomorrow, but what it does do is it significantly increases the chances of me continuing to do this for everybody into the future. And what he's done is he's paid it forward, and he's helped everybody else here, and him being generous like that and just giving that money out, you know, without having to at all, is so nice of him. It's so generous and such a good thing to do. That it and demonstrates to everybody else like the value that we have here. That emotion, that knowledge of the gesture, pulled the rug out from underneath me. I didn't expect it. I need a drink. Right. Okay, good stuff. Back on with the show, right? On with the show. Cool. So a blend then, okay, a blend I suppose instead. But right, okay. Look, by the way, final time. Really do appreciate it. It's true. It's all good. Whatever. Teach a man to fish, exactly. But every single one of us is going to wage war on the fishes. We're going to take it to the fishes and show them who's boss. You know, like George Bush says, he does believe that man and fish can live in peace. He did genuinely say something to that effect, but no, I believe that George Bush is right, and that man and fish can live in peace. But despite that, we're going to take it to them anyway, and really, you know, we're going to go to war with the fish, and that's every single last one of you. So thank you so much. Yeah, just needed a second there to just needed a second there, right? Every single person in here is a human being. I appreciate every single last one of you for your human being qualities. Thank you very much for Patrick Pellegrino for giving me a sort of vote of confidence there on that front, by the way, as well. Massively appreciate it. So what we're looking at here is a move up towards the 2618. That comes in at $40. Okay, so the current target that we have in terms of the here and now and the right now, the right here, the right now, and if you want to make money trading, then the easiest target to look to at the minute really is $30. And that actually, to see that target, you need to kind of zoom in a little bit more on the charts. However, if you're looking up here in the 24-hour time frame, and you're talking about where we could go to next, we're now past all of these targets that we had on the go already. We've already done all of them. You know, we've already come in at the 1618, etc. If we're going to see continuation in this market towards the top side, that's where we're going. Let it be very, very clear though that I'm viewing this as being a wedge as opposed to an ascending triangle. Now, an ascending triangle has a statistically more bullish likelihood in terms of what will happen, and we are in a bull market as well, so that doubles down on it. And I think that the fact that we're in a bull market alone is enough for people to feel like that there's a good upside potential for us. But I'm going to leave it as a wedge, regardless of what the debate is about what it actually is, because a wedge here with this rising wedge has a statistical likelihood of breaking towards the downside, right? So at least it tempers your emotions somewhat on that front. Looking down the way, a measured move off the back of this wedge, depending on exactly how you drew it, and you've already seen me move it in this show, takes you down towards these targets down here at $18.89. So $19 or so. I'd be remiss not to really point out the fact that that could be where we see prices go into without actually breaking the structure of the overall upward movement during this period of time. If you allow me to get rid of the drawings there for a second, you can see that while we have been trending towards the top side, that we haven't really put in real higher highs and higher lows along the way. way in terms of the broader picture. You know, we're still going along here, and that if we were to see the prices drop down at some point towards this target, in the grand scheme of things, that would simply look like we've just come in for a higher high and put in potentially a higher low overall, and then we could continue thereafter. Okay, so there's your risk for you that you need to be aware of. And of course, this is the potential here, but don't be coming to me in the comments if the prices go up to $40 and saying to me, ah, but Rocky, you said the prices were going to go down to 19. No, I'm talking about risk here. And as a trader, you've got one job and one job only, and that is, of course, the buying and selling of risk. So acknowledge then that if we're above or below this wedge, then there could easily be a retest of it, breaking back into this zone thereafter from either side. Then, of course, would perhaps double down on your bullish or bearishness, depending on what direction it went. But you've got the range in between in which you can manage your risk very, very easily. In terms of like how that looks like on a chart, again, I'm not a financial advisor, and none of this is financial advice. If you're looking up towards that $40 target, how does that work in terms of managing your risk? Well, you can see here, just with me dropping this measure move target on here, that your risk encompasses the current range of the wedge that we're in right now. So when you fully sort of link all these things together, then you can understand how maybe you could trade in this environment and hopefully protect your assets, right? Protect your assets, because this is the range that you could experience of volatility. After, and if we did push all the way down past that, there would be, you know, it would be unadvisable, although let's face it, anything can happen at any time in markets, so there isn't any real predicting to be had. But in terms of the managing your risk and being able to assess risk, make a proper risk assessment, and then position yourself accordingly, movements down past the lower end of the wedge here at this point would of course represent very bad value in terms of long positions where you could potentially move on past it. Like, somebody just done another one here. Corners and sill. Oh, Jesus, Tony. I have to read it as well. We have to read it. I have to read it. Let's make him cry more. If Artie has the heart, then I'll jump in. He's made me this in trades from his tuition over time. Thank you, mate. You're a star. X, your mate, Tony. Tony, you're a really good guy. I actually would recommend everybody to become Tony's friend. I don't know how many friends you have capacity for, Tony, but if you can take a few more on, then I would put it out there to the world that he is definitely somebody who should be one of your friends. He's a really, really nice guy. He's also you know, proficient and good at what he does, and he explains things really, really well in a way that perhaps I don't, you know, and stuff like that. So like, he's good to have. He's really good, you know. But also he's you know, he's a really nice guy. He's funny. Fuck you, by the way. And he's a really nice guy. Yeah. Where was I? Anyway, I'm just trying to show you how what you need to do as a trader is to be aware of your job to buy and sell risk. Okay, you need to buy and sell risk, and in this zone here, you've got this red area, which of course is your risk. Now let's just zoom on in a bit here and acknowledge what this risk is in terms of volatility. Okay, in terms of the average true range, we can see that the distance here, if you were looking up in terms of like this being your risk and reward, up to a target here, you'd have got stopped out in terms of the volatility that exists on a daily basis. Okay, so be very much aware of that, especially if we did move outside of either one of these areas. Okay, because what you'd be looking at there in terms of your average true range would simply represent perhaps a retest, or as Mitch really likes to call it, a back test, which isn't the right word, but whatever, of this wedge, you know, in terms of your average true range. Okay, so you need to be aware of what your job is as a trader and how to then position yourself accordingly in the market, and what risk are you willing to tolerate based on what you're looking at. Now, of course, as well, let me be clear, two things. One, anything can happen at any time in the markets, and two, I could be absolutely wrong. You know, I could be everything that that I've said in terms of the wedge and whatever else could be completely and absolutely wrong. You know, it could be, okay? And telling yourself that from time to time is no bad thing. Obviously, you don't want to destroy your own confidence. Like, that's a separate argument. But, like, you know, acknowledging that you could be wrong is very, very, very important. So then how do you reconcile the knowledge that you could be wrong? The knowledge that the volatility could make you stop out of a trade, despite the fact that ultimately it turned out that you were right. How do you reconcile all that together with actually performing in the markets? And that's really is the difference between the 10% of people who make it in the markets and those who fail. Now, what it actually will mean for you personally is going to be a question that I can't actually answer. It depends on your time that you've got to dedicate towards trading. It depends on your appetite for risk. It depends on your so many different things. You know, for instance, are you going to discover after trading for a while that you're just a scalper or whatever? Are you going to discover that you're really, you know, you get a bit greedy, you get a little bit greedy when things go your way and you don't take profits, etc., etc.? Are you liable to move your stops and losses, etc.? How are these things going to go? And all of those questions are going to need to be answered by yourself. For a lot of people, therefore, it's probably a good idea to kind of scale it out a wee bit and think about things from the point of view of being a long-term holder, an investor, if you will, going towards being a trader. And what you often see in the market is when people lose the most of their money is that they go from having the attitude of being that I could hold on to this for the next year and I will probably make money, to then thinking I need to make money in the next 15 minutes while trading, and going from investor to scalper. And you've got to admit that there's a big gap in between there, is there not? And perhaps you need to think about things along the lines of bigger time frames and you know, being more of a swing trader. Personally, I would rather get into this on a retest of a breakout. And if you're interested in that sort of thing, go ahead and watch the video that TradeSpotting put out with regards to breakouts and retests of them, etc., and to learn a little bit more about it. So but how do you really reconcile all of this together is a question which you're ultimately going to end up answering yourself. I'm looking at this right now and thinking, well, apart from the fact that I already got in and everything else and did all of that, I'm looking at this and thinking that if I had absolutely no position, and fuck it, you know, fair enough, maybe I'll look back at this in the future and in the next day or two and take a leveraged futures trade off the back of my own chit chat here or whatever. Maybe I'll do that, and I'll need to think about things afresh and how I'd actually have the risk parameters around that individual interaction with the market as opposed to my current interactions with the market that are already sort of incumbent, and I think about things from along these sorts of lines. Now, if we do break up, then we could have that target up there, and we could then of course come back down for a retest of it. Here's your target here, roughly in around about that zone. I like to go for 5-to-1 in terms of risk to reward. Now, of course, I don't do it all the time, and this is very discretionary, and I quite often change the parameters of this as a mid trade, not to my own detriment, of course, but for protectionism purposes. But I would think about it along the lines of, if we come back down again into this area and take out, you know, $27, etc., and we take it out, then I would probably be willing to relinquish that trade and then think about it again about how I could get in, because I would probably be able to, if I was to not, you know, immediately just in out constantly losing money the whole time, which is bad. Don't overtrade ever. I would probably be able to get this move within 5-to-1, or indeed reassess the market and take a different trade. The reasons why going down past this area is important is because, of course, this was a key area for us in terms of the 1618. In terms of you know, breaking down past that would be, of course, breaking down past our previous highs and our previous support and resistance targets that we had in mind. If we take in a Fibonacci retracement then as well and say, well, what does it all line up with? If we just pop this in nicely, then it's of absolutely no coincidence to anybody to see that the 236 is there at $26, and indeed breaking the 26 and going down past that zone would, you know, see that you've got these further potential movements towards the downside in store for you. By breaking it, by the way, I do mean on a decent enough time frame. You can see here, if I jump down from the 24 to the 12 to the 4 to the 3 hour to the 2 hour to the 1 hour to the 30 minutes to the 50 minutes, that is, you it's only when you get down to 15 minutes that we actually put in any opens and closes below it. So in terms of like, a soft entry and a stop loss in terms of managing your risk, etc., it's totally feasible to think about things in terms of how you'd manage it, with of course a harder level somewhere further down below where you would say this absolutely intolerable to have gone past, for instance, as a way of managing it. And there'd be various different methodologies which you end up discovering for yourself across time in terms of how you would manage things yourself. Looking at this here, by the way, in terms of the low term time frames, now that we're down on them, you can see they've got these two lows over here, and you can see that we've got this bullish divergence on the go in this period of time. Bringing up the MACD, which consistently needs to have me zoom in on it all the time as I use it these days. I don't know what's up with the settings on this thing. You can see that with these two lows, that indeed we had bullish divergence again between these two as well. If you're willing to call these two lows, and I think in terms of this time frame that probably overall that's what they are. So what we're doing is okay here, and you could maybe manage things if you were talking about things from a very, very low term time frame and wanted to, and if you were one of those scalpers or whatever, how you could manage your risk accordingly as well. And what you'd be looking at this point would be simply trading within the range, and trying to manage it off the back of the 50 simple period moving average. And you can see that it's quite easy to achieve yet again 5 to 1. Now 5 to 1 is actually ridiculous. It's ridiculous in terms of profit making. If you were in any situation talking to any professional trader and you said that you normally operated on a 5 to 1 basis, then they would think, fucking hell, that's what they'd think, right? Excuse my language, sorry, but that's what they would think, and that's the truth of it. Instead, you can absolutely manage it in various other ways, where you're talking about 3 to 1, etc., and be even tighter on it, etc., etc., etc. But there you go. That's a little bit of the sort of the education to go along with what we're looking at. If you were simply trying to play off the back of a break above certain zones, maybe taking out this previous high over here at 27, a buck up from where we are with a run up towards the $30 zone might be okay. But we are, of course, suffering on the way up. Let's just acknowledge as well that between these two zones here in the 50-minute time frame, as we can see here, we've had divergence, and that's across the board there. And it doesn't look absolutely fantastic at the minute for this one. I am Callie, just subscribed. Thank you so much for subscribing. I am Callie. That's fantastic to have you here as part of Team Rocky Outcrop. Fantastic. Really do appreciate it, of course. So so this isn't super fantastic, but this is the sort of volatility that we can expect to see on a time frame like the 50-minute time frame anyway, and giving us this bearish divergence. So again, this goes back to that point of, if you're finding that too difficult and not within your tolerance, you don't want to be trading a bullishly divergent move off the back of having had a fall down from a bearishly divergent high. That's fine, because you can zoom up the way and you can say, well, between this high and our high that we've had just here, that we're not really bearishly divergent, and maybe you'd be looking at a different risk to reward ratio in terms of how you'd actually, or not ratio necessarily, but entry and exit and everything else, and where you might be looking for your targets. And that's an easy way of kind of mitigating some of these problems which might exist in one time frame or another. And that's why I recommended earlier on that if you were coming from an investor / hodl type of point of view, looking to become a trader, why it would be unadvisable, probably. Again, I'm not a financial advisor, nor is any of this financial advice, to look at charts at anything really under the 24-hour time period until such times as you've managed to really kind of get a grip of what you're doing there, okay? Cool. Nice one, by the way. Tony, you're trading, you can't chat, just going to listen, chat towards the end, friends. Fantastic. You see that? That's one of these things that I want people to know, is that I'm not a YouTuber first, I'm a trader first, and that I want to become, and I don't think it's unfair, but I want to become a YouTuber that can help a lot of other people out there get a lot of value, and at the same time, completely de-risk my own life, and be happy doing that at the same time as and everything else, and deliver this content and trade on top of it in order to get to that Warren Buffett, Jeff Bezos levels that we all aspire to get to in the end. Or indeed, if I'm just honest and fair about things, to be able to get to the point at which I could be content with the fact that I don't have a pension. I don't have a pension, and I want to, and this is a risk in my life later on. Or I could be content with the fact that my health my health has not permitted me to really actually stack up a massive amount of wealth in the background, because in the past I've been rushed to hospital and stuff, and in those times I've lost in my entire trading accounts and stuff like that, unfortunately. But you know, staying alive is more important than having a lot of profit and being dead, right? So there we go, and that's just happened to me in the past. So, you know, could that happen again? Yes, it could, and it's a risk that I live with all the time, because it's a chronic health condition that'll never go away. It'll never be healed. So these are the ideas that I have, and I'm transparent about them. I don't hide it from anybody. Anyway, that's your link technical analysis. Let's move on. Let's move on to Tezos and celebrate the fact that yet again, and let's just be really clear again on this one for everybody. Yet again, we delivered on the show the perfect technical analysis that I've never seen anybody do anywhere near as good as. And I'm not just blowing smoke up my own bum here. I've never seen anybody do it, because what we talked about here was in the previous episode, and you're welcome to go back and look at it and audit me if you like, no problem. What we talked about in the past here was certain things about how we could get a move outside of this zone, and if we did get a full move outside of that zone, just trying to turn down the music here actually at my end, because it's annoying me even more. Yeah, if we did get moved outside this zone, then we could be going up towards these targets here, etc, 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 at which point it could become a channel. We might see a pullback from that point, etc, coming back down to retest. Here we have a small ascending triangle as well along the way. We've got the full measured move off the back of that one. It went up, you know, precisely to our target. Now, I don't give people precise pennies, entries and exits, if any, or whatever, but let's just kind of audit it here ourselves and say that if you were full greedy, if you were full greedy off the back of this thing, and you went for the full greedy move, that you just missed out on getting your profit taken by about 5 cents. Oh boo-hoo, sorry about that. But if you were not so greedy and you took profit at say 389 instead of 395 or whatever, then of course you did very well. Since then, what we've seen happen is, of course, the prices have retraced back down to 345, and then they've gone up the way. Let me just check the 50-minute time frame and see, and what time is that? 15:45. Yeah, so since then it's just basically gone up the way. This would be the last time I kind of checked the charts as well on this one myself. Let's audit this in the 15-minute time frame. Bullish divergence there on the MACD before we saw the rise up the way. Bullish divergence on the RSI before we saw the rise up the way as well. So the same chat that I just had about Chainlink is being seen here as to have had played out. What's the difference between this and what we talked about Chainlink? Well, you can see this was your previous high, and we've so far come up above it. We're now at the area of the 50 simple moving average, so I'm not going to actually go in and explain how you can manage your risk and everything in here, because if you were paying attention during the Chainlink episode chunk just a second ago, then you're fully versed now in how you'll be able to do this. This is what I mean about education and value that I try to deliver on the show, and why I do this constantly all the time. This is what we're talking about here on here. Anyway, yeah, so I'll just revert back. So just to show you all the technical analysis before, wonderful stuff. I'm now going to go back to TA with Kitch Ray, because I get, you know, we don't need to, I don't really need to give everybody the full story, so you know not only exactly where we're going, but why we're going there, how we're going there, what it means, what the nuances are, if we go beyond those zones, what that means, and if we pull back, what that means, etc. That's annoying, K-Doc. That's a shame that you didn't get it. Good to have you here, by the way, Kevin. You've I'm glad you were late though, because you missed all the emotions earlier on, and that means that I don't have to deal with the Scottish attitude towards emotions, which actually is really quite nice at the end of the day. But on the face of it, would be full of laughter. Anyway, looking up the way here, you'll be curious, but I'm not going to explain it any more than that. Looking at what we're... it's so difficult to not do the TA because I really want to, but I'm going to do it Mitch Ray style anyway. Obviously, we've got profit taking target 1 done already, so I'll just draw that in I don't even know. I mean, I don't even know. I just feel like it's such a rip-off to people to do that and then say that if you want to have anything, you know, if you want to have things done properly, you need to go to the Patreon and join it. I feel like that's so unfair on people. It's so difficult for me to commit to being ruthless about you know, the Patreon thing. So difficult. Oh God. And then yeah, I don't know. I mean, what am I going to do about things? What am I going to do? I don't know. Yeah, right. For all of the other stuff, we'll just have to do it basic style, but I'll just continue with what I'm doing here because I do love the community and the education stuff, and I find it's really important. So I'm just going to do what I would normally do on Tezos, I suppose, maybe to a slightly lesser extent, and then I'll do TA with Kitchery for everything else, right? And that's when I'll start being really disparaging to all of you as well, and telling you that you're not giving me, and every time somebody comes along and suggests anything, what I need from you guys is for you to all jump on them and tell them that it's a $10 minimum. So for instance, when CC Chan came along and says, what's XLM saying, Papa? What I need for this to be like a Kitchery stream is for all of you to tell them it's a $10 minimum donation, or I'm not looking at it, okay? That's what this needs to be. It's Kitchery stream. Everybody be aware, I'm running it like Mitch Ray today. So CC Chan came in here, and for some reason he wasn't pounced on by the rest of the audience and told, you know, that he needs to pony up or whatever. So there you go. Give me your key, Jen. What are you talking about there? I wonder what you're talking about. You're yeah, man, he has got a heart of a lion, and I'm looking forward to seeing the channel grow as well. I think it's absolutely fantastic. Everyone in here is freaking incredible, says Artie Pyle earlier on. Trey, you're right. Yeah, you're right. Okay. Don't be overwhelmed, ladies and gents. Okay, don't be. First off, looking at the MACD over here in the 24-hour time frame, you can see that we're continuing to, well, first off, price action. Price action always has to come first, by the way, for everybody. Quick lesson for you all. Just a little tidbit there for you. First off, we had the golden cross here. When we got the golden cross, what did we see happen? Well, it just measuring it from the top down to the lower end of that wick, we saw a 13% drop down in the price at the time where the golden cross happened. No major coincidence. That happens all the time. What that offered up was a decent re-entry, never breaking the structure towards the downside, getting this really curvy bottom, giving it a curvy bottom, not actually pushing down the way, and kind of undermining anybody's opinion about whether or not this was a local high, etc. along the way. In fact, I even extended that as far back as the high that we saw on the 23rd of January and said that that's, in my last episode there on Friday, I was talking about the merits of discussing this area on the 23rd of January, 24th of January, as to whether that was actually legitimately the high or not, given how we've seen this pan out. And overall, this still remains the case, and I think that probably seems a lot clearer for us when I jump up towards the 3-day time frame, and you can see that there was these proper candles in between, and then we had that high and just moved up thereafter. Probably something to be aware of. We also know that overall that this is actually shaped up like a wedge. It's the same sort of chat as Chainlink. I could have a wedge drawn on here very, very easily if I wanted to, but I'm not going to for the purposes of this show. Instead, you know, I'm talking about it as being the potential for a channel. If we see a pullback at this point, I don't want to see the prices going down any further than 270. I said previously in previous days was your best buy point. Right now, I'm just going to say I don't want to see the prices going down past $3, just to keep things nice and easy for everybody to understand. And of course, $3.04 is where the 50% Fibonacci retracement point is on this one, so I don't want to see that happen. Of course, we could see it retrace back down towards 348, as we have already done today, and it offers up a really decent buy point, you know, in terms of just continuing on up the way, if we were to see that happen. At the minute, that isn't actually happening. It's not happened yet. We have retraced back up to 368, but, you know, of course, the next question is, can we push on past those zones where we had before? We got diminishing volume. That's okay to see. We don't have diminishing volume. We had diminishing volume up until the point where it went sideways. Now we're pushing up a bit more in terms of the volume. You can see that the overall average has increased, and that is, of course, healthy and good. Overall, you can see here that between the previous high on the RSI and the current one, that there's sort of class B divergence. You get the same sort of impression. It's actually just kind of bearish, I suppose, in a way, on the MACD, unless you want to compare it to that previous high on the 23rd and 24th of January, which we're actually not entirely convinced really constitutes a high overall. So we do have a bit of divergence on the go. We don't have like hidden bullish divergence really to really kind of point to in the 24-hour time frame on the MACD, nor do we have it with the recent price oscillations over there on the RSI, having had already moved up the way off the back of the previous hidden bullish divergence we saw in here at the second yellow arrow pointing at that low just before the 23rd, on the 22nd or something like that, I assume, given this is the daily time frame and it was 1 bar earlier on. So, you know, logic has it. Anyway, we can see that we've moved up the way in terms of the ADX, and we're continuing the strength of trend, but we haven't actually got enough of the disparity between the prices pushing up the way in terms of their highs and their lows and the average true range, which actually forms up the basis of understanding the DMI over here in order to continually go up towards the top side. And that makes a good deal of sense, because this has been an area of difficulty to get past. If we get past this point here, I don't really want to take a measured move off the back of it and say where we're going to next. Instead, I would just point it as being a breakout of this channel is potentially going to take us up towards the 1618, okay, and that would give us our $6.27 target. Now that's obviously a ways away, and there's definite targets in between, and I would like to point out to people that you've got the target of sort of $4.11, but let's go for the memes and call it 420, of course, because we love the number, and that would be of course where you'd be taking your profits at as well on that one. I'm not a financial advisor, none of this is financial advice. What would happen after that if we did get a proper breakout, having seen volume coming in here and having done it without divergence on these oscillators, having pushed outside of that zone? Well, if we did see that operate as a profit taking target, that 420 zone, then maybe a shallow retrace back up towards going up towards the top side thereafter would be on the cards, although of course that's highly predictive. Instead, really, I'm talking about the possibility of just managing your risk at the edge of that pitchfork, because we would ultimately be breaking it. What does it mean to break a pitchfork? Likewise, just like with parallel channels, one of the reasons I so often even confuse the word when I'm saying pitchfork and I say parallel channel by accident, is because a break of these things doesn't really go along, doesn't really constitute measured move type thing. Instead, you're just talking about directional trend in the market. And wouldn't that be lovely? Because the current extension of the pitchfork takes us up towards being close to our all-time highs, and if we did get a directional move there afterwards, then we'd be going past our all-time highs at 450, and that's when $6.27 becomes more than realistic. It becomes likely at that point, which is actually, you know, mental, but there you have it. That's what it would be if likely if we do actually push up past that zone. And then you get the FOMO train coming in there for everybody, of course, in terms of like wise moves to get in on. We've had so many of them over the past. I assume everybody that wanted to fill bags with regards to Tezos has managed to do so successfully already, but there you go. You know, that's where we stand with regards to that right now. If we bring up other things, we can see that we actually have got a cross again around here on the no sure thing indicator on the 24-hour time frame. As we've gone up towards the top side, you know, there is the chance that we push on up the way. This could be your canary in the coal mine again for you. If we see this crossing back over the way and go down, then what it actually constitutes is having had bearish divergence amongst the previous two highs, in which case, you know, maybe we are looking down towards that $3, perhaps $3.70, and that's 10% moves that we're talking about between the previous support levels as well. So it's not worth carrying trades between the two of them, in my opinion, from a financial sort of risk management point of view. Certainly not from a financial advice point of view, of which I do not do, and I am not a financial advisor. If we look here at the what else do I want to look at? The stochastics as well is kind of interesting currently with its pointing up the way. You know, we really are asking, can we push up or will we get bearish divergence? If we want to make it so that we don't get bearish divergence on 1, 2, 3, 4 indicators here, really, when we look back to our last significant highs, whether that's class B or indeed just full on class A, in fact all of the oscillators, then you need what you need to see happen is for the prices to come up towards these higher targets, just so that we can push on further on and burn it off a little bit. We're actually very, very close to being able to avoid the bearish divergence, so that is a possibility. Just in terms of sort of more simplistic looks at things, in terms of the RSI, we got rejected from it on our first time, or the bullish control zone. We're back into it now and asking, can we find support within it, more or less? You know, I'm happy to say more or less when it comes to these zones, but we're right on the cusp of it right now. Could we see things turn around from here and go towards the top side? Well, we absolutely could, and it would be interesting to see that happen, having been rejected from on our first pass. pass, capturing it the second time, securing it as support, and then perhaps breaking past these zones towards the top side. Bear in mind then the zones towards the top side that I'm really talking about are the 390 area, 390s up to 420. That's an area where you could see retracements and volatility in there, where the average true range on this coin would get you to easily pullbacks in there, and you'd have to be, if you were looking to get into position at that point thereafter, then it would probably be wise to consider scaling into it as opposed to going all in at once on it, because your risk management at that point would indicate to you that there's a high degree of likelihood that you'd be able to average out as a better overall position overall for sure than to just go in all at once, unless you saw a complete breakaway, but that's less likely in terms of a risk management point of view. We could only go up a little bit and just to satisfy the lack of divergence there, just to clear this off the board down below in order to then move on the way. So there's some sort of slightly bringing some of the esoterica of trading into the public domain and into the light so that you can get some of that, and hopefully that'll help improve your own trading. Of course, I expect you to be making your own decisions in the market based on simple, real technical analysis that you do that's independent to this channel, because we're not a signals channel over here, we're an education channel more than anything. But there's various things to be aware of. Currently there is actually a huge disparity in terms of the HIT BTC chart and the regular chart with Tezos, and this is something that we like to talk about. Whoa, get myself a lemsip. K-Doc, you're a star. I'll come back to that in a minute. You're awesome, by the way, K-Doc. And by the way, I'm asking people in this episode to let me know what it is that I need to do to make it so that people are willing to join the Patreon, just so everybody knows. I want to know if there's a reason. Here's the Patreon over here. I'm not pushing it on anybody. I'm not at all. I haven't, although I'm kind of am in today's Kitchery episode, having a laugh. Get yourself a lemsip. Thanks so much for that. I am stuffy. I want to know what it is I need to change. Do I need to put content on here before people are willing to join up to it? That would be nice to know. This is obviously just me wanting to kind of plan for the future. If I'm not making, and this is not a joke by the way, if I'm not making $7.5 grand by the end of this year through Patreon, then I'll probably give up the YouTube altogether. I'm not threatening anybody. It's not like a crying about it sort of thing. I'm just saying that I would be better spent doing my time more wisely, and of course I could deliver this quality of content to people, to the group of people who would pay for it. And I already know that there's a whole bunch of people out there that would pay 10 grand a year or whatever, and I could get 10 of them, make 100 grand a year, and just call it quits at that, which of course is 7.5 grand a month ish. That's why those figures kind of tie together. Anyway, HIT BTC over here, giving you a little bit of insight, because we have a massive disparity between the charts over here. If we did see a pullback on the Tezos price elsewhere, will that go hand in hand with reconciliation between the two? Will we see amortization? That's of course the word derives from the word more, to die. Essentially it means to go to zero, to kill the difference. And so will we see these two amortize? That's a financial word for you. Or not? And would it take a withdrawal in the price action over here, or a breakout from this wedge? If we do break out from this wedge here, it involves going past 324 on HIT BTC, and it would carry all the way up towards the $4 target. I actually think that currently the way that this is going, it looks like we'll probably see the distinction between these two charts at the minute. Big arbitrage opportunity. If anybody wants to take advantage of it, you're talking 20% between the two exchanges ish, in and around about that area. It's crazy, and you're seeing a similar movements elsewhere. So I don't know what the deal is with that one. Obviously you'd be wanting to withdraw from HIT BTC to deposit in the likes of Coinbase, and then keep swishing your money around left and right. There's 20% for everybody. At the minute, until such times as the opportunity that exists with arbitrage is sorted out, looking for moves that are more than 20% are it doesn't seem on the face of it all that wise, right? It doesn't seem on the face of it all that wise. Okay, so what we want to see is for moves that are bigger than 20%, I want to see this go away, but that's just in the minute, at the minute, for instance. All right, cool. I'll work for you, mate. Sell a house down here, buy a mansion up there, or I mean, if only the house prices were so different, right? If just purely in terms of house prices alone, I mean, that's cool. What we maybe should do is sell houses up here and then move to somewhere where you can actually do that. That would be a good laugh. Maybe that's something to do after our parents all die. I'm not wishing my parents to die, and if either of my parents tune into this stream, love you. But I don't want to move away from them. There's more to life, as you well know yourself as well, than money and the house you live in. Or sell Bitcoin in November, December and buy a mansion up there. Yeah, I mean, totally. Let's do something like that. That'd be cool. And we could do that sort of thing. We could do that sort of thing at the minute as it stands. What I want is for the sort of the status quo, if you like, for the majority of what we're doing here to remain. It's just for the value to sort of flow properly back the way as well. Nice to see chat going on between different people in there talking about different protocols. For instance, Fire Protocol. That's a nice one. It looked good, very new, low cap. Yeah, it does look good. It does look good. I hate using what do you call that guy, Uniswap these days. It's just such bad value. Hello to everyone who came in within the last 10 minutes or so, had a phone call. Hey, sweet to have you back, Trey. Yeah, so that'll do for the Tezos technical analysis. By the way, you might have noticed that I've not done any of the little clips. What I like to do in these videos these days is do little clips so that I can export them from the live stream. And so I can export them from the live stream, and then of course it helps introduce more people to the channel. I'm not sure, maybe today I'll just relinquish doing that because the episode's been a bit of a kitschery mess, or maybe I will, I'm not too sure. Check this out though. Where's the prices come on Cardano? Pop this back on again, right up to our 414 Fibonacci extension. Stretch out the price action a bit more, so you can see that I drew this in from a significant from the previous high over here at 45 down to the wait, does that actually even add up? Is that right? What have I done here? Oh, I did this the wrong way around. I can't remember right now. In fact, I don't even care. I know it was accurate when I did it, and I know that we've come up to that area, and that's fine. Fuck it. Sorry, excuse my language again. That's the last time I'll ever swear now. I've decided that is the last time I'll ever swear. I've decided now. We've obviously done this measure move as well, off the back of that we were talking about at the time. This was the note that I put on the screen. Understanding simple market structure is the key to understanding price action. I think that's a good piece of advice. Where would you, looking at this chart, draw in a Fibonacci from? Let me just show you that there's various areas that people would like to look at. Here is reasonable. It makes sense because it's the last low before the rise up the way. It makes sense again, then you know that you're saying that it was a more or less equal low with the previous one. However, what we're seeing here is that in this change of conditions, in terms of the change of conditions, it almost looks like a rude drawing. That then I would probably say that the area to look to for the Fibonacci retracement, if you're looking at this on 24-hour time frame, for instance, really is this last significant low. This is where we really saw the bigger accounts push the button and say, "Thou shalt not pass," or whatever it was that Gandalf said in that movie back in the day. If Dom Underhill was here, then he could tell us. Just kidding. Look at here. So we want to see right now the prices stay in the 70s and above. 73 sees a 236. If that gets broken, then a reasonable target towards the downside becomes 60 again. This is obviously moving fairly parabolically. When I zoom back out, you can see that. I would be very worried then, and from a parabolic move perspective, I'd actually then say to you, if you're worried about this, then it's the same construct essentially. This is the last significant low before going up the way, and this would be the second area that I would look to for drawing in Fibonacci and saying, again, this lines up at around about 70-ish cents or so. So really cascading down the way and spending days below 70 cents at this point is worrisome. At that stage then, you need to look towards market structure and say, what would we be breaking? And if we were to break certain areas, what would it be? This little inflection that we saw in the market in and around about the 4th of February isn't all that hot in terms of Cardano for the move, and instead it's this feature in the market where we had consolidation. Pardon me. If we break down past that zone, then of course, then you're looking very, 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 very bad.
This is of course where the 618 is as well. So if you want to avoid an 80% decline in the price of Cardano, then you want to stay above all of those targets, those aforementioned targets. For instance, 36 would be, you know, the 36 is the key, or else you're looking at the prices coming down to 16, 17 cents, okay, so something like that, 17 cents, maybe 20 cents, probably more like 15 before it actually found a bounce, right? So 15 cents from there, crazy. So just look out, so that you obviously don't want to see any of that happen. And it starts off, you know, it starts with a bird, snakes, an airplane. Lenny Bruce is not afraid. Well, what is Lenny Bruce not afraid of, as it said in that fantastic tune by REM from the fantastic album Monster? Was it, or was that from Automatic for the People? I wonder. Then we're looking down here at 69. The Lenny Bruce's number is 69, but really I suppose 60s. The 60s is the chunk. So we've got three real chunks to be aware of. You know, the 60s, the 70s, and then beyond. What we're looking at the minute though is having had a parabolic trend towards the top side, and technical analysis, well, it'll always serve you well, and I can probably always find something decent to talk about and some good insights for you. The parabolic SAR comes into its own in this situation. It's called the parabolic SAR for a reason, really, because it's parabolic stop and reversal. Parabolic, this is your parabolic. This is then, of course, would be your stop area in here. And if we see prices moving down below 52, then that's when you have to look for a reversal. If we see 4-hour candles and above, maybe more like 12, given the time frames and stuff that we're talking about here, and the risk of volatility. But if we see like a 12-hour candle frames, you know, so a day featuring most of the day, 2 day, you know, like, so 4 hours, 12 hours, etc. When you're talking about these things and saying you want to see them closing below or closing above to break it, then you're looking at the box within the box. Okay, so if you're talking about 4 hours, then you're looking for like a 12-hour or a 24-hour period where you've got numerous 4 hours within that period closing below it, as opposed to a 4-hour candle, then 3 days later another 4-hour candle, etc., etc. And that's what I'm kind of getting at there. So if you do see that happen, then this would be your stop and reversal point, at which case you'd probably find that you got your stop and reversal coming back in again with a re-break of that 72 area, if that were to happen. So right now, you know, everything's just long until it isn't. So that's the big time frame, and there isn't really much to say beyond that. Jumping down the time frames though, you'll find a little bit of insight here, and sure enough, there is in this area here as we're consolidating at the 414 Fibonacci retracement point. You see that we've got a triangle of sorts on the go here. If we want to see this move happen, then of course you're looking at a potential profit, for instance, of going from 86, breaking past that up to 96. Fantastic. That's of course more than 10% again. And if you were to see a drop down, and you're looking down to that 71 area, as we've spoken about so often already along the way. So that's kind of what you've got at the minute with regards to the Cardano pricing. We'll skip all of this for now, although if we did see this come back down to 7.1, it'd be a resolution of this white area here. Yeah, it would be a resolution. This here's your best buy area at the minute, right? Okay, so your best buy at the minute is about 71 cents in Cardano. Okay, if you were to see a resolution of this volatility, you know, post after the fact, depends. We've had a Rick and Morty ellipse. They've turned into a big beak on it. If we see this spreading out and continuing up the way, we'll know all about it, and that comes in at a break of the 86 with volume. As we're seeing, the volume's obviously declining during this period. So what you want to see is, of course, the volume coming in here as well as a break up the way. Then you can start to disregard that other stuff. Of course, being aware of the potential for a retest should you need it, etc., 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 or else that's where you're looking to, and that would make sense from the point of view of the ADX. Don't say you weren't forewarned. Forewarned is forearmed, and that's the good stuff. So then what else did we want to talk about? There were some coins that people suggested, but I'm totally not interested in the suggestions today. This is, of course, you've been scalping with your entire balance. Tony. Tony. Careful now. 30 minutes of trading. Think I'll grab a cherry Pepsi and I'll be happy with this for 20 minutes. Thanks. That's cool that you're... It's cool. It's cool that... good stuff, by the way. Oh, you've made $1,000. Fantastic. You see what I mean, by the way, right? So, Tony, you get it. You get it right now. You've sat here not making a YouTube video, not trying to help people. I'm not, you get the point, right? You're probably laughing at the minute. And you've made $1,000, okay?
I've actually cried, right, after you've donated $150 or pounds, one of the two, and Trey did the same, right? So $300 after me expressing a ton of passion towards trying to help people develop and ask, what do I need to do to make it so this can remain a public service for people throughout the year and into 2022, and me being so passionate about it, my emotions spilt over when people just did that, rug pulled me, and I cried. Meanwhile, you've been off making a grand trade-in. I could have done that, right? I could have done that. I'm not doing that. I'm here talking instead. Please, I have a blind spot to it. I have no idea. What do I need to do to make it so that doing this videos doesn't cost me money? I came into this I actually had more money a year ago than I have now, because I've had to pay out those. I had more money a year. Yeah, well, whatever. It doesn't really matter. The fact of the matter is that doing YouTube has cost me money to a massive degree. And given into this, I came in with a lifestyle that had extreme outgoings in terms of paying council tax on 3 different properties, stuff like that, mortgages, everything else that you want to talk about, and then COVID struck, and my income was reduced entirely to trading, and then I'd already committed to doing YouTube, so I had no supplemental income, and then I spent less time trading and everything else over the year than I had done already in the run up to it. So when I talk about this costing me money, it costs me money. It costs me a hell of an amount of money, right? It costs me a lot. So help me, people, right? Help me, people. Help me. How do I get to the point at which I'm really proud. I'm really, really proud of you, Tony, by the way. I didn't say it there. I'm really super proud of you. I'm so super happy for you, and I'm super proud of you, and I'm really, really pleased. How do I get to the point where this actually doesn't cost me money, right? How do I do it? It isn't by getting Artie Pyle and Tony Wright to be, and the likes of Sean Thomas and Michael John Scott to be donating to the channel, exclusively them, doing it for everybody, right? Instead, there's this thing over here, the Patreon. How do I get it so this works? Now, I did say in the episode, if people thought it would, I did say earlier on, let me know, by the way, if you've been reading the chat. Tradespot, you've been reading it. Did anybody respond to me earlier on when I said, if I make a new level right now on the live show, would anybody even join up to it? I sincerely doubt that the price point here isn't what's stopping people doing it. It isn't, right? Do you know what the reason is? In my opinion? It's because people can tell I'm a nice guy, right? You can tell I'm a nice guy. You can tell that on the one hand, I do the best technical analysis on YouTube. So point number 1, best TA on YouTube, by a million miles. It's not a debate, right? It is. It's the best TA on YouTube by a million miles. And unfortunately, it's combined with number 2, nicest guy on doing TA, right? Most generous, perhaps. Right? Okay? This is the problem, right? And it's point number 2. That's why people aren't doing it, right? That's why people aren't doing it. Now, again, I don't want you and you and you and you and you in the audience, I'm not talking to anybody specifically, but if you feel like I'm talking to you previously, was talking to you specifically, then go ahead and feel like this disclaimer is directed at you. None of you, this is not directed at any of you in particular at all. But this is the problem, right? This is the problem here. This is the problem. It's one or the other, right? And if I do both, it costs me significant amounts of money, okay? So it has to either be no more of that, and I can keep doing this, okay? Or it has to be no more of that. And I think that there's very little point in trying to compete with like Crypto to be just a nice guy talking about Chris. I think Chris from Crypto is, I've said it a billion times, I don't think his TA is anything to be written home about. I think it's not very good, but I think he's the nicest guy in crypto. So do I want to compete with Chris to be the nicest guy in crypto just to be here being a nice guy, right? Or do I want to do this and do the best TA on YouTube? Well, this is, I think, is where the value is. Unfortunately, this is the situation is, and you take that plus, right? Plus sign that plus 1 plus 2 over there, So there you go. This plus this, right, equals, unfortunately, equals only 3 Patreons. Okay? And the sad reality that if it was about the money and I made a lower level right here, right now, no one would actually go for it other than RT Pyle, Tony Wright, you know, etc., etc. The people. Sorry, I spelled your surname wrong there. You get the point, right? They get the point that nobody would go for it, right? Nobody would go for it apart from the people who are already contributing to the channel and already doing it. They're already there. Tony, not only does Tony contribute money, he contributes time and effort, and he's there most Mondays with a live stream. So go on, somebody out there, be honest with me. Come on, somebody in the chat, be honest with me and tell me what it is. Just tell me what it is. Just tell me, like, you know. And I'm not talking again as well. This is not directed at the likes of anyone in particular. For instance, K-Doc, who you know, who donated $4.99 for me to have Lemsip. It's not donated at K King, for instance, who's right there, one, you know, Spanner or whatever, etc. Although in a sense, you know, overall, like all that stuff, right? Okay, 4 now, right? You see, right. But honestly, like, so you guys that are signing up, fantastic. Look at that. These are amazing. They're amazing. It's amazing. But I shouldn't. But honestly, what is it I don't get? What is it that I don't get, right? What is it I don't get? Because I shouldn't have to do a stream where I call it Kitsch Ray and I talk about Patreon as much as I talk about TA and insist and everything. I shouldn't have to do that. All right, or should I? And is it my naivety? Is it my naivety that's the problem here? Is it that I'm too naive and I don't get that I need to act like this? Because I tell you what, I hate doing this. I hate this. I hate acting like this. I don't want to be here shouting at people. Right? I don't want to at all. Okay, so somebody, gosh damn, let me know. Hey, no time right now to watch. Sell a Udemy course. Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, right, totally. Could do a Udemy course, etc. Yeah, marketing takes more money and time than skill and talent by far. I'm not sure. I don't really get what you're talking about, Devin. I don't understand, right? I don't understand. Okay, somebody explain it to me in terms that I can understand, right? Are you saying that I'm not, Devin, are you saying to me that I need to do marketing? What marketing do I need to do? Because I do live streams for hours and hours and hours on YouTube every week. I have videos on the channel, marketing, like literally thousands of videos, literally thousands upon thousands of videos, right? I have them. I have a Discord group. I have Twitter. What do I need to do it? What do I need to do? Just tell me. Anyway, I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. Anyway, I don't care, right? But today's theme for today's show is Kitsch Ray, where you talk about the Patreon almost constantly, right? That's today's show that's today's theme for the show. It's talking about the Patreon almost constantly, right? Okay, Adabro, gotta pay the man. Ads, bro. Yeah. Ads on YouTube. Maybe just do that. Is that what you mean? Is that what you meant, Devin? That I need to like spend some time and money on advertising to get more people to come here? But then when they come here, they'll just watch it. You know, that's what I'm saying. They'll just watch it. Like, I don't care that much. This. I like to say, by the way, just so everybody don't panic. Don't panic. Obnoxious thumbnails, colors with shitty influencers on YouTube, collabs with ads. Yeah. All right. Okay. Cool. I get it. Over the period of the next, when I'm back on Friday, by the way, doing another live stream, there won't be a single mention of any of this stuff. You know, there will be, I will say in it that I have a Patreon, whatever, but there won't be any of this stuff. I'm just really drawing the contrast. I want everybody who's watching along today feeling disgusted at my attitude can put it in, will everybody who's watching along today feeling disgusted at my attitude will hopefully be able to then look back at the last year of me doing this on YouTube and think, oh right, no, actually he's got a really good attitude, because this is not what he's like at all in any way, and he's having to deliberately go out of his way to act like that, you know. And hopefully what it does is it underlines my authenticity when I say that I care about the audience, right? Hopefully it does. Hopefully that's what it is. If it comes across like I'm a bitter old man that needs to you know, chill out and whatever else, then I'm sorry about that. I'm just trying to draw the contrast, because I'm going to go back to doing it normally. It's just you need to know, and all the rest of it. It's just you need to know. Okay, cool. Clickbait, false entry and exit points. Yeah, exactly. Haha. Growth may take a while, but crypto is now getting popular with the raise. So just stay consistent and delegate jobs you don't like to do to other resources. Yeah, cool. Okay, that's probably right. Now's not the time to get butthurt, not when the bull run is starting. I'm not butthurt, by the way. I'm not butthurt. This is... I've obviously gone too far. To be clear, this is how Mitch reacts all the time, except he does it throughout the entire year, all the time. I've condensed it all down into one episode, and then I've been genuine and asked, you know, what do I need to do? And I'm not saying, what do I need to do? Oh, lordy, what do I need to do? I'm saying, what do I need to do? Do I need to change the prices? Do I need to put videos on Patreon? What would it be that people need? You know, do I need to give people signals? Is it that people would only join the Patreon if I gave them explicit entries and exit points? Just tell me. If that's what it is, if the reason is, no, I know why people join Mitch Ray's thing. It's because he does entries and exit points on there, and he gives you trade setups, and it's the trade setups that people are buying when they join his Patreon. They're actually what they want is to buy the trade setups. They're not really trying to support the channel. That's a valid answer, and I'm genuinely asking people to tell me these things, you know. But there we go. I just had to give that answer myself. I mean, I knew that in advance. I just didn't want to put words into people's mouth. If somebody had said that before me and told me that, then it would have been independently brought up to me, and it would have been a double confirmation. But there, I've just said it myself. So you get the point. I'm genuinely asking what it is that I need to do differently so that I can continue to do this for a year, and I'm never going to talk about it again. Okay, you know, those two things. I'm not going to talk about it until months and months and months away. Not never again, but for months and months. I'm going to go back to doing what I've been doing this entire time up till now. So don't worry, I'm not actually butthurt. And I know that you didn't mean that like that. I lost service, lol. Go Rocky, go. Oh, you lost service. That sucks. Ooh, that's a question. Rocky, how about your answer on that? Where's the question? Rocky Outcrop, you see, as Trin expressed the feeling others will get when he says butthurt when you're looking to show people the value of supporting you. That's not the question. Is this the same live stream? Yes, this is the same live stream. That can't be the question. What question are we talking about? Just keep promoting the Patreon throughout your live stream like radio does. Right, cool, okay. So really it's about being, so I've got one answer, is that it's about being consistently relaxed, casually saying, and remember there's a Patreon there, and just, you know, being like, you know, just relaxed, casual, bringing it up consistently throughout the show. Okay, cool, nice one. Thanks, Tony. I'll look at that question in a second. Or is it that I need to like really put their really obvious value, you know, like, and say this is what you're buying? And I don't think that I need to do that. I think it needs to be on the. I'm inclined to agree with you, 3000 Trin, and that's what I'll be doing. But I want to, you know, I'm figuring it out now, and I know that you're not bothered. Right, cool. If you had 10k right now to buy Bitcoin or Ethereum, what would you do? Well, this is the chart we need to look at for that one, don't we? Right now, so let's try and sterilize opinions out of this, okay? Just not based on things like thinking one protocol or whatever, one technology is better than another, okay? Or any of that. No opinions on things. So, but I would like to say that Bitcoin is getting a lot of attention at the minute, like a lot of attention from people like, you know, Elon Musk talking about Bitcoin, etc. Means that it's got a lot of attention, okay? And Ethereum doesn't quite have that same level of attention necessarily. However, Ethereum just had the CMEs start for it. In fact, do I have the CME? Can I get that up there? I don't know what the symbol is for it, but I assume it's ETH1 exclamation mark, right? Yes, awesome. Let me add that to my chart. Oh, I should have done this before, but I only just thought of it. ETH1 exclamation mark, right? That's how CMEs always do their things. So I'm adding that to my charts here, and then I have the Ethereum gap city. Like, let's not get too carried away with this. The volume, the Ethereum, when you look at the liquidity here on this one compared to the liquidity here, just a second. So you've got the two, right? You've got Ethereum and you've got Bitcoin. When Bitcoin CME started, going back on the 1 hour chart was probably a mistake on this front. Anyway, when CME started over here, the liquidity was quite low, right? Despite the fact that, of course, it had a big impact on the market, and we didn't, and you know, lots of breakings were happening without sort of the so-called sort of volume to go along with it or whatever in terms of this chart. Now, it only really kind of balanced out and got more consistent, higher volume, you know, significantly later after it started. But at the same time, in terms of the chart, there was more on the go. You know, there was more, there was less gaps and whatever. Ethereum one, it's only just started, so it's hard to say. In fact, what about the Bitcoin one on the I'm not going to go that. No, the Ethereum one's just started. It's too early to say, but this is like a really curious thing at the minute as well. And how will this go for it? So there's that, and that's kind of a risk as well. Okay, it's a risk. It's a risk. It's an opportunity, and there's a risk involved there in the sense that it could it's another place to short it, you know, for institutions. So a lot of institutions were able to short Bitcoin using CMEs, etc. before, in order to safeguard against any sort of Bitcoin income, etc., whatever volatility in the markets. People use futures, by the way, so often to hedge against their own spot positions. So a lot of people who were maybe long before on Bitcoin then hedged using CMEs, etc., like that sort of thing. Okay. Who let the bulls out donated 618 and says, you rule, don't ever change, stay rocky. Man, who let the bulls out? I didn't notice that. I'm going to just play this again, by the way. I didn't respond to this at the time. I'm really sorry about that. That's so fantastic you did that. Thank you so much. Really do appreciate it. I really do. I'm sorry that I didn't draw a direct reference to you doing that at the time. Okay. Thank you for that. So that's a risk, right? That's a risk. Then you've got like so I want to see how this develops over time. Whereas with Bitcoin, it's not so much of a risk in terms of it being a new thing that isn't fully necessarily kind of been integrated into the market yet. So there's that, right? There's also, in terms of fundamentals, like in my view, is that Ethereum 2.0 has been a complete failure. Although that's not happened yet, but it's been, in terms of the thing, for me, the thing that I wanted to get from Ethereum 2.0 was lower transaction cost fees. And Ethereum 2.0 is now a thing, and they haven't gone down. They're as high as they've ever been, sort of thing. So as far as I'm concerned, that strikes me as a bit of a failure. So it depends on how you want to look at things fundamentally as well. Right, okay. But anyway, that's all outside of the charts. This is a technical analysis show, right? There's only one true answer to that question. And it's got to come in the form of technical analysis, right? It's got to come in the form of looking at the charts. So I would hesitate to answer this too directly, in a sense that I don't want to do the whole telling people what to do things, etc. But you know, by the way, for people who aren't too familiar, this is Ethereum VBTC. So as chart goes up, Ethereum is doing better. Okay, down equals BTC doing better. Okay, just for anybody who didn't know this already, just so you know, stick that off to the side in case I ever need to make this reference again. I mean, it's obvious, isn't it? But I don't know if everybody necessarily knows. So anyway, what we're looking at here is that Ethereum has been doing better over the last wee while, and it's putting a high versus its previous high, and of course that was bearishly divergent. Then we come in for a low here. This low, and if you call it, it's a bit rich to call this a high, to be honest with you. But anyway, nevertheless, if you're to call this low versus its previous low, it's lower than it. So that's not hitting bullish divergence. So that's not great. We're below this red liquidity area that, you know, obviously breaking up above, big deal. Looked for it to be support. It kind of was support and resistance, and around this zone, pushed on up the way. That was the difference between these two Fibonacci's, the 236 over there, and the sort of the 100% of this previous high, which was the September 20 high before. And, you know, when Ethereum did really well and pushed on past. So what happened in this zone of time was that Bitcoin had a head and shoulders and retraced back down the way a whole load, while Ethereum kept going for like another month afterwards, and it pushed the price way up in terms of the Ethereum Bitcoin pairing overall. So this was an important zone, and we're now below it again right now. So there's that. How long a time frame are we talking here for this one as well? I mean, if we're talking over the period of the next few days, etc. I mean, like, this is a lot. This is the Ethereum versus Bitcoin not looking good. Okay, number of things that are not looking good about it. Here we can see that the ADX has just dropped from 25 down below 25, still above 20 as we can see here. So it's okay. You know, it's okay, but this cross happened here. You know, this is not a good cross. This is a bad cross. Okay, 24-hour time frame, bad cross. Looking up or looking down the way, 4-hour time frame. You know, the strength of trend is obviously there, negative. 12-hour time frame, cross over here, bit of chop. This is kind of the difference between the 4-hour and the 12-hour and the 24-hour, and we're seeing this. You know, it's not the ideal cross, etc., but it's a pretty shoddy one. Now, in terms of 3-day, etc., we've obviously had a decent trend towards the top side, but we're seeing it obviously pulling back down the way with the DM positive overtaking overtaking the ADX towards the downside. So, you know, in terms of the strength of trend that we're seeing here, it's not great. Okay. We've broken that down below our previous lows. Hide all the drawings on here. Hide all the drawings on here and bring up something like the Donchian channels. So, I mean, this is obviously answering it from a point of view of going and spending that money right now in the here and now, okay, that sort of thing. And we see that we've broken past this previous low here so far in terms of our move. So we've come back into the realm of the Donchian channels. Now we have actually put in higher highs. That's all good as well. This is higher lows as well, as you can see quite clearly. So we've just had a death cross. This is the 3-day time frame. So what about the 24-hour time frame? How are we doing? It's just had the golden cross over here. Golden cross. So we have seen this withdrawal down to this area. If I'd been looking at this a few days ago, like over here, I'd have thought, oh, this is worrisome that we've had this. There could be a retrace. Then it went up and then on down again in the end anyway. Gosh. Right now, I would buy Bitcoin. Then, if the price of this dropped down to this point here, I'd swap it over for Ethereum. I'd look for a bounce in it around about the 618 golden pocket. If it didn't bounce, then I would swap back again to Bitcoin at a break of the 200 simple moving average here in the daily time frame. So I can't really give you, because I'm too much of a trader and I don't like to hodl something, you know, just for no reason. I would have to manage this appropriately. So First off, what I would do is I would probably buy Ethereum. Okay, actually, sorry. First off, I'd buy Ethereum, and I would do it on the basis that if we dropped down the way I'm not a financial advisor. None of this constitutes financial advice. This is purely speculative and opinion based on a hypothetical question somebody asked in the audience, and it's certainly not financial advice at all whatsoever. Okay, to everybody out there, I would look at it along these sorts of lines that if we push down past the lower end of the Donchian channels, I'm stopping out of this and going back into Bitcoin. At the minute, there's a chance for this to go up the way based off the back of the golden cross. The fact that we've had a decent retrace down the way on this one, which has already been a retrace of what, let me see, 20%. We've had 20% happen post golden cross. It's always lovely to see that. That's a nice number. It always makes a bunch of sense. And then of course we could see the prices go towards the top side thereafter. Right now I would buy Ethereum rather than Bitcoin, but I would then immediately swap back over to Bitcoin if we were to break the Donchian channels and go below 35 or so, and be happy to keep that with the expectation that we would probably find a bounce then in here at around about the 618 golden pocket zone, or indeed the 50 simple, constituting a retest of the 50 simple moving average on the 24-hour time frame, following on from a golden cross and ultimately putting in a higher low. Because like I said, when I was trying to look at this before about whether or not this area here actually constitutes a local low just here that we're looking at, I would say that it doesn't really, and that this bearish divergence at the top, it's not really real, not the way that, that's not really a local low, and this isn't really a local high. It's just on the way, as we can see here in the 3-day. Well, the 3-day time frame does make it look like it is. Well, you see, I've already explained my position though. It doesn't actually change. This is just the theoretical stuff behind the scenes. So yeah, so I'm skeptical about that, but I'm looking over here and saying that if we break this Donchian channel, that we're doing a couple of things at once. Obviously the channel itself, but this which pertains to our market structure. Looking over here at the previous inflection point, break that and it's a problem, and we could be then looking down the way. Overall, managing to maintain where we are right now simply constitutes putting in a higher low overall on these two low points here. And I suppose you could then make the argument, if you're going to, that's a degree of hidden bullish divergence, I suppose, on that front. It doesn't look very good on the MACD, but here on the RSI, you can see that there was this low and then this subsequent low. Okay, so that gives you that hidden bullish divergence that you're looking for to give you a decent trade there off the back of all of that, right? So that would be that. But then if we went past these points here, then I'm very much wanting to having the Bitcoin again at that point, okay? And that kind of would have to be my answer. Does that count as an answer, or did I split it up into too many little? Did I split up into too many little bits? Nav and Ethan, let me know. Let me know. Was I cheating by answering it that way or not? I'm not sure if I cheated by answering it that way. I think you wanted a binary answer. Just go with Ethereum in that sense. The reason I can go with, if I just had to give you a binary answer, is because you can say, look over here, what we had was a low. This low came in with a double bottom. It wasn't like so much the bullish divergence, but it came in with we had a double bottom in this area here, moved towards the top side since, and we've been trading up ever since. We put in higher highs than we had before, and we're actually just after having tested the 236 Fibonacci retracement point, and we're right on the cusp of doing it again. If we break past this, then the sky's the limit, and we could be looking up as high as just up towards 57, etc. And it could be the overall reversal of the trend in that sense, right? The overall this trend towards the downside, we're really breaking the back of it by pushing up past this wick that you can see on the weekly time frame, which constitutes a move past the 236 Fibonacci retracement point. You can see in terms of the previous wicks that we had in the past, that this lines up with the bodies of what we're looking at right now. So that we know that this is like right on here asking questions. I'd go with Ethereum. I'd very happily change my opinion should we break down past those other points, at which case I would start to say that it was that this is that what we're looking at is perhaps the overall FOMO into the market being directed towards things by the likes of Elon Musk, etc., towards Bitcoin, and that it's hard to stand in the face of a moving tide. Okay, and you're not. Are you really? I'm just kidding. Reading the comments there for anybody who's wondering what I'm laughing at. Okay. Right, excellent, nice one. Shall I do some clips? Right, let's do some clips. That's how to get Patreon. I know, Tony, right? Gosh damn it. And for everybody who thinks I'm butthurt, that's what I've been doing this entire time. I know you don't think I'm butthurt. That's what I've been doing this entire time for a very, very, very long time now, okay? It's over a year and all the rest of it. I've been doing it. I've been doing that. I'll continue to do that. I love doing that. I'm so proud of everybody who's in this community. I'm not actually really handing you the keys to the kingdom. I take you right up to the doorway. You walk through it yourself. I'm your spirit guide. Every single last one of you is a self-reliant, independent lifestyle trader, and I'm really, really proud of you. And I think you're doing fantastic things, and I love the fact that you're taking positive and proactive change into your own hands and taking control of your own destiny. I'm super proud of you, and I'm really, really, really pleased to be a part of this community. I actually consider myself to be a part of the Rocky Outcrop community as opposed to some sort of figurehead of it. Really, overall, we're all outcropticians together. I don't view myself as being above anybody else. I think we're all equals here, and I really love the sort of the tide that's flowing of positivity out into the world. I just want you to know that, although I have, of course, acted butthurt in this episode, it's only to drive home a point and to try and get people to actually, you know, communicate and open up some lines of communication. Okay. Okay. You just need some bros to keep you on track sometimes. Yeah, man, I know it, of course, as well. That's what bros are for, right? I mean, that's what yous are for. That's what we're for. I think that's something that that women can do for each other too, but it's certainly something we benefit from as a predominantly male audience out there. By the way, I'm actually really pleased to have seen that there's a couple of female subscribers to the channel now. So pleased. Let's just do it. Let's just real quick do a couple of Bitcoin, a couple of episodes, so I can cut these out and publish them separately. Okay, if that's okay. I hope you don't mind. Please don't tune out while I do this. But this is for the benefit of everybody who didn't tune in for the Kitchery cry about Patreon, despite making $100,000 a year, demand stuff from people show. I actually really like Mitch Ray. The only person I have a problem with in Mitch Ray's community is Brad Fisher, Julia Gulia, and all of the other mods who ghosted me after banning me from their Discord in yesterday's live stream when I just tuned in to be a nice guy and to try and meet some more friends and see some memes. I wasn't going to go there and self-promote my channel. Not that it matters, and why should it matter to a guy that's making $150,000, £150,000, in fact, $200,000. I don't know what it is. A lot every month. Why should it matter anyway? Why should it really matter? Anyway, I got banned immediately and blocked. Do you want to see it in action? I could show you it in action, but I'm not going to bother. I could just like try and join the Mitch Ray Discord, and then I'd be banned. Okay. Oh, cool, awesome. I didn't realize Who Let the Bulls Out. You sent me some music. That's fantastic. I'm going to pause this crap that I've got playing at the minute. Hopefully. Where is it? Where's the crap that's playing at the minute? Is that it? No, it's not. We just have to start closing entire browser windows. I'm one of these tab guys, right? If you ever see one of my browsers, it's got like 50 tabs open on it on the one browser window, and then you go look down below and you'll notice that I've got 3 or 4 minimized browser windows, each with like another 50 tabs on them. So that's not good, right? There goes that music. Close that music off and bring up the one that Who Let the Bulls Out shared with me. Fantastic. Who let the bulls out? Boop. Burp, burp, burp. And then I'll do my wee clips for YouTube, right? Fantastic. It's quite exciting music. It's quite loud as well, actually. I like the way you've made it loud. By the way, Who Let the Bulls Out? If you're still here, let me know if that's actually your music. Did you make and produce that music yourself? That's quality if you did, because I'm super enamored with the creativity in this community. Sometimes, you know, I'm blown away by some of the stuff that I've seen that people do. Like we had at one point, although we got rid of it, an art thread in the Discord, and my God, some people are proper artists. Like, I'm like, you know, really impressed. And then I see the likes of stuff that, you know, Navin Ethan, for instance, he's an entrepreneur, and he's got this amazing music setup, and I thought it was brilliant. And then what did I do? I log onto Discord one day, and I see him and Cyan talking to each other about their setup, because and Navin Ethan is impressed by this other guy's setup, and I'm thinking, my god, you know, like, anyway, I think some of the stuff out there is fantastic. This is the music that I'll be using in the back. Oh yeah, you're removing them from the thing. Yeah, so am I, in fact. How do we do this again? Customize channel. I actually think Mitch Ray is great. I actually think Mitch Ray wouldn't have had a problem with me saying it at all. I just think it's Brad Fisher. But, you know, but there you go. The moon. Right. Shall I leave them all on? There we go. You'll notice I actually have the likes of Tone Vase, Chico Crypto, The Moon, MM Crypto on there. I don't mind promoting these guys. You know, I might laugh about it from time to time, but I don't mind promoting them. I'm not lying when I say that I want to be Chris's friend. I think he's probably the nicest guy in crypto. I used to know a German guy when I was at uni. Me and Jamie Tradespot, good friends with this guy called Johannes. And MM Crypto is like Johannes, you know, exactly the same as this guy who was a good friend of ours. Really nice guy. And all that. But anyway, that'll all happen in time as I go to some conference. Okay, first off, by the way, before I do these wee clips, can you tell me, is the music level wrong? Is it too loud? Is it too loud? Or is it good? I like the computer theme, by the way. Are we all good to go for this? I'm gonna just assume that we are. I think we are, because I think people would have said in the background if we weren't. I need to bring up a couple of charts. So, by the way, if you're not familiar with this part of the show, what it is I make live streams. That's what we do. But I also have I also publish videos separately, and I make them during the live stream, recorded live, and all that good stuff. So that's what we're going to do right now. Okay? Or in a second, if I can get my light working again. Whatever. It's white. It's supposed to be coloured. Can't be bothered fixing it. That's SoundCloud that's on, by the way. Feel free to share your link, by the way, who let the bulls out, if you want to. I'm all good with that. Give you a bit of support. I don't know if there's anything I can do to support you on SoundCloud in terms of like hitting like or anything like that. I've never used the thing before. If there's something that I should be doing there to just kind of help your channel or something, then I'll do it, whatever it is, like hitting like or whatever. Oh, by the way, if everybody would like to hit like on this video that's watching just now, if you haven't already, I'd appreciate it as it happens. Right, cool, excellent. Yeah, I know it went off right away. Pfft, what are you gonna do? Eh? Who cares? It's just the design flaw of the Philips Hue bowl. Bye, says Yaha. Yeah, I can't see your name, mate. That's a shame that you're saying bye. I wish you were just saying hi. It'd be better if you were saying hi. I'm going to long ETH, $50,000 long position. Let's go. Are you for real? Are you serious? This is what I'm talking about. I mean, that's quality. Good luck with that. Just let me sort out the zoom levels on these a wee bit. God. This is so frustrating. Never used to have to do this in every blooming episode, but here we go. Okay, BTC head and shoulders on the hourly. Well, before nice to have you here, by the way, Cullen Seabrook. That's Cullen Seabrook. I mean, is that your real name? It's funny because Cullen Skink is a Scottish fish soup, right? And whatever. So I wonder if if that's your real name or not. Down 10%. Is that what the volume should be? Down 10%. Okay, cool. Just try and do it. Hopefully that's better, right? Alright, okay. Oh, it just changed. That was a bit abrupt. Who let the bulls out? That was too abrupt. Go back and edit your music. It was too abrupt. Head and shoulders. Is it, it's not a perfect head and shoulders. It's, sloping down the way here. Volume going down. That's decent. I wonder what points you're looking at for it. Sometimes people want everything to be a head and shoulders when it doesn't need to be. Did you say 1 hour, by the way, hourly? It doesn't need to be a head and shoulders all the time for it to for things don't need to be like that, because a head and shoulders is really just a way of putting a framework or a common understanding around saying simple concepts, like what the psychological impact of moving past certain zones. If you're looking at this at this point here, it would probably be more likely to have called it something along the lines of a descending triangle if you really wanted to, in terms of that. By the way, moving down past this point here, if that's what you consider to be a significant zone, hasn't actually resulted in us being able to push past the 236 Fibonacci retracement zone, and that's where it really gets tasty again. This 236 doesn't really line up with a head and shoulders neckline. This is cool. The video game theme song is perfect for me, by the way. Who Let the Bulls Out? It works on the channel. Bigger time frames doesn't really work. No, mate, sorry, it's not head and shoulders on the hourly. It just isn't. But that's cool because it doesn't matter. Not everything needs to be one. It's like I was saying. Just look towards horizontal support and resistance, etc. By the way, I was in the Chainlink group the other day. It was super toxic on Telegram. Super toxic. And they were talking about how they thought there was a head and shoulders on the 2 hour time frame. So let me just point this out to people, because they were, well, like I say, they were super toxic. And I didn't expect that from I honestly didn't expect that from people in the Chainlink group. Now, it's not Chainlink as a whole. Linked Marines, I love yous all. Yous are not, I love almost all of yous. Yous are not super toxic. Just on the Telegram Chainlink group, you've got a whole bunch of toxic people in there. Or at least you did at the time when I happened to go in there, funnily enough. And what they were saying is that they thought there was head and shoulders on the 2 hour time frame. And just pointing this out to people before we go on to do my episodes, I'll just hide some of these extra things as well. I appreciate that it's a bit noisy on there for people. Right? Just first off, anybody in the audience able to see anything that looks even remotely like a head and shoulders on that? No. Perhaps I'm zoomed out too much. Okay. Can anybody see anything that looks even remotely like a head and shoulders on that? An inverse head and shoulders? Well, maybe you could if you thought that something in here was one. In this thing, I was like, what are you talking about? What do you mean? They said, oh, this is a head and shoulders. Here's your shoulder, here's your head, here's your shoulder, right? And then your measured move, this is what they said. I discussed it with them in detail. Your measured move, and it was breaking out at the time, okay, was to take us up to $31 from this area, right? I tried to explain to them that a head and shoulders, if you're going to talk about it this way, it doesn't come at the top of a movement up the way. This has been an upward trend to this point, and you don't start your head and shoulders at the top of the trend. An inverse head and shoulders is a reversion of a downward trend. Therefore, the first half of that head and shoulders, this inverse head and shoulders they thought it was, can't constitute the downward trend. You don't have the head and shoulders come along and reverse the downward trend, of which the head and shoulders is the downward trend, yada yada, 2 in 1. No, it doesn't work like that. That's just obviously nonsense.
what I would have accepted had they said it was a head and shoulders was this area just here. Now this isn't what they were talking about, and this puts in your neckline over here ish area. Then you can see that your measured move coming up to here, I got the neckline wrong, takes you up to there. Then you've got your measured move coming up, and you've got a fulfillment of that over there in the end ultimately, right? But people want to force things onto being things. It wasn't a head and shoulders. I tried explaining it to them. If you want to go and join the Chainlink Telegram group and scroll back to yesterday and read the chat, you'll see how some people are just toxic. So, yeah, it doesn't need to be a head and shoulders, by the way. Sometimes instead it's easier to just look at horizontal support and resistance points. So this overall thing here, this tiny little inverse head and shoulders, that's cool. It's not what they were talking about. Besides, it isn't really on the 2-hour time frame, that one. You'd have said it was more like on the 30-minute. Look, perfect. 1, 2, 3, head and shoulders right in here, reversing that downward trend, up the way. There's your move. Perfect, right? That isn't a head and shoulders. So equally, friend, I'm just not seeing one, but that's okay. It doesn't need to be, right? It doesn't need to be. Okay, unless you previously meant like this is a head, this is that's a shoulder, that's a head, that's a shoulder, got some sort of neckline in here, and we've broken it, and therefore this is like your measured move, and we've already done the full measured move. Ish, more or less, and from a textbook point of view we have, because it'd be 60%, unless that's what you are talking about. Let's go check out Cardano. Tony's saying it's going nuts. Let's check it out. I'll get around to doing my little videos at some point. Ooh, okay. This thing I was talking about then in terms of Cardano, don't know where my triangle's gone, must be on a different chart or something. This has obviously happened, so we're getting a bit of a breakout here. Volume coming in just now as well, that's nice to see. And we have a potential move here, I suppose, if you want to talk about that. Let's not go full crazy on it and just say 60%-ish. Take us up towards that 90 zone. Is it possible? Sure. What we're actually experiencing though at the minute is resistance, of course, right here at the previous high. So a failed triangle, etc., can turn into something like this. Let's see if we get a pullback down the way we want to see it, not breaking down below that support line, of course. 90 would be a next target. I obviously wouldn't trade it from right here where we are right now. That's not what I'm looking to do myself personally. But you could also be looking at this being an ascending triangle. In fact, maybe that's better. In fact, maybe this is a place to play it from, if you like. Looking for a move off the back of this one. This type of idea, you know, not a super girthy, you know, just, you know, not trying to be greedy on it at all, if I can help it. I am human though, so I'm not actually trading this myself right now, so I don't need to worry about being greedy. So that would potentially be where it is, but let's not go to get too greedy. Let's just go for roughly 60%. Where would you be managing your risk at around about on this one if you were to? What's that, 7.4? So don't even need to be so tight on it. Maybe that's a fair enough trade to be had right now. I mean, it's a tough one. I don't like the idea of breaking that down below that line, but that's a trade. That's the trade to be had right now. This is actually on. This trade is on. It would have been happened during the time that we're talking about it. Anyway, nice, K-Doc. Glad to see you. Nice to have you back again. Wonder if Cardano got that deal with the African government. If that's the reason. Interesting. Wonder. The African government. Which African government, I wonder. K-Doc, Rich said to buy Ethereum and then move to Bitcoin, so we're all doing. Come on, stop, Tony. You put a cry face in there, but casual viewers will take it as financial advice, etc. I'll come back around. We'll check in on that move in a minute, right? We'll check in on that move in a minute. It'll feature as part of the video when I get to it. I'm going to do my little clips, okay? Going to do my little clips. And by the way, Cullen, did you? Oh, thanks for the explanation. You did. That's cool. I wanted to know if you thought that was cool or what. I didn't mean to be saying that you're wrong, because interpretation is totally fine. And this little sort of this section here, which makes it hard to see, is the kind of the exception that would prove the rule on that other head and shoulders. By the way, so it's not like, you know.
Anyway, it's all good. And as you can see here, if this is your shoulder, then we didn't actually fail it, and that would be like your failure point as well in terms of it as well. Right, so I'm going to skip this song because it's got lyrics in it. I like it, but I have to because of the you know, the people are funny. Back to computer game land again. I just kind of go back to the start on this one. Right, nobody tune out. Nobody tune out. I'm not doing it. I'm not like going away at all ever or anything like this. This is all good. This is just for this is something I'll extract and make a video out of. Okay, so that's all good. Hi friends, I'm Rocky Outcrop. This is Bitcoin Technical Analysis. I'm really glad you joined me for it. Thanks so much for being here. Dropping a like would make me very happy. What we have on the go at the minute is this little bit of a downward trend in terms of the 30-minute Bitcoin chart. But we can see that we've come in and found support at this green line. This green line is quite important, and we'll explain what that is in just a moment. But if we do go towards the top side, then of course the range that we're looking to between the two areas at the minute are 48,000 and then down as low as 43,000. That $5,000 range is your easiest trading range to be had. If we can make it past, you know what, tell you what, maybe I'll just start this again because I drew that by accident. I'm not really sure actually what I'm going to say, but like this is the deal. I don't like doing stuff on the 30-minute time frame either. Start on the 4. Yeah, this is much more, like, you know, much more on screen for being able to talk about, you know. Oh damn it, come back. I liked that one, but it ended. Oh, it was only going to be a minute anyway. I'll just start with get with it. I don't actually know if you shared your chat link or your music link in the chat there, but you feel free to if you want to. Who let the bulls out? Hi friend, Bitcoin Technical Analysis coming at you. My name's Rocky Outcrop. Drop a like, I really do appreciate that sort of thing. We have the 4-hour Bitcoin chart up here that we're looking at, and we have 3 profit taking targets on the go. Of course, we've already captured this first one, and this second one has been struck already today, but that currently represents the top end of a lower time frame trading range. If you're looking at 30 minutes, for instance, you're trading between the 43,700 and 48,500, sort of $5,000 trading range on that one. Pushing beyond that zone, we're going to go looking up towards the next target up the way, and that's coming in at the minute at around about 59,000. Let's just call it 58,500 so we don't get too crazy greedy on it. This line that we found support at on these lower time frames, well, in all time frames essentially, but where we found support at just here, what is that line? And you can see here on the 24-hour time frame that this is the 236 Fibonacci retracement point. That Fibonacci drawn in from the lows of the recent downtrend that we had since the previous all-time high up to the highs that we've put in today. The price action beforehand actually did form out this wedge, and it gave us a measured move that we've kind of already actually fully really achieved. However, we can still look on beyond the way. This higher up target is the 2.4 Fibonacci retracement extension point for you. That's what we're looking at. If you're interested in oscillators as it happens, then looking at this here, we could make a case for saying that we've not got any divergence here on the 24-hour time frame. Jumping down the way as well, we see that's the same story as well with this recent rise up. That's nice to see. There's obviously a bit more enthusiasm in the market than just simply Elon Musk's Twitter account. And as we can see here as well, this recent low that we've had, having come in here obviously higher than our previous low, is giving us a degree of hidden bullish divergence. Now what we see here with these Rick and Morty lips on the ADX is that we haven't actually got across. This is kind of what you want to see before a rejection. Nice one. Let's see if we can kind of go up the way. A rejection of a cross, sorry, a continuation of the positivity. That would be nice to see. Over here on the stochastics, not so great that we're pointing down the way. I would like to see us finding support if we need to here at the neutral line. It's absolutely possible that we continue to go towards the top side though. As you see on the 24-hour time frame, we are remaining with a nice positive bullish trajectory. Seeing a cross over here on the no sure thing, coming in with a nice bit of hidden bullish divergence as well. Could this be a nice signal for us? Well, the ideal trading signal signal was the one that we got over here. This is just a continuation of the same thing, hopefully helping you out if you're either managing your positions or looking to get into one at the minute. My name's Rocky Outcrop. I would really appreciate a like, a subscribe. Help support the channel by going to patreon.com/rockyoutcrop, and I'll see you in one of the live streams someday. Thanks so much for your support. So, as you can see, that's the type of thing that I publish when I do technical analysis for the static viewer who isn't tuning into the live show. What did you think of that? I hope people out there, you know, also enjoy this sort of thing. I probably should put a stream marker in as well, actually, so I can find this chit chat again later on. But, you know, at the end of those episodes, I find that I think that it's good work. Trying not to be like, I'm so humble. That's the problem, right? Anyway, I think it's good work. I think it works well. Just in case he didn't share it, there's a link to Who Let the Bulls Out thing. By the way, if you're now annoyed because you didn't want me to share that or something, I hope that you don't mind me sharing that link. By the way, please, one of the moderators, go ahead and delete my link that I put in there. By the way, MasterCard accepting crypto payments is pretty big news. Expected later this year, of course. Of course, Dvoracus. Of course, a horse. By the way, I'd like to ask, have you hit that like button? I'd like it if you did. Al Godahewa, good name, joining your Discord now. Great, good stuff. By the way, let me know how you get on. I just changed it today to have a CAPTCHA thing instead of the alt-identifier thing. Let me know how you get on, if it does actually allow you to join, that there's no like bugs on the go. Let me just check and see as well that it's not a problem. Hi guys, amazing program, first time watching today. Oh, brilliant. Nice to have you there. Is that you, by the way, AJ? I wonder. Excellent. Hey, Rocky Outcrop and Tradespoint just popped in to drop a like. Well, fantastic. That's super good. What did you think of that little snip that I just did there for the Bitcoin technical analysis? You know, I don't know. I think that's pretty good. Obviously, this is as a result partly of the TA that we did earlier on. Anyway, and if you're looking for comprehensive Ethereum USD TA, then I actually did it. Somebody sponsored me to do it earlier on, to do it properly, and I did it really properly. Did some really, I don't know, it was all right. I thought it was all right, and I was told that it was the best they'd ever seen. So I've done better in the past, but it was good. Super comprehensive stuff earlier on if you want to find that. But this is the Ethereum TA for just now. Hi friends, Ethereum technical analysis coming at you. My name's Rocky Outcrop. Drop a like if you like what you like. I like it when you do that. This is the 24-hour Ethereum chart, and at the minute I'm kind of thinking, are we in a channel which could see a retracement of the prices coming down towards the lower end of it, just in case, and what the key target would be for us if that were to happen. And that actually comes in at around about $1,400. Now, this doesn't necessarily need to be the case, and just give me a second here as I twist this up the way and show you that indeed we could actually be in a wedge format as well. We're in a bullish market. There is a statistical likelihood that these things break towards the downside, but that kind of overlooks the fact that we're in a heavily trending market towards the top side. You know, it could actually break out the way. The measured move off the back of it isn't going to set the heather alight overall. It's quite a narrow wedge in if you could speak, Rocky. But then up here towards 2,400 could be your measured move off of it. There is an intermediate target that I'd like people to be aware of in around about 2,200 or so, and then the target beyond those zones, if you are going to look beyond them, actually goes up as high as the $3,000 level for the 2.24 Fibonacci retracement point. Now, there's a few different ways of getting towards there, one of which is coming in from our previous highs to lows in this market. That's wrong. Now I look like a fool. One of them is coming in. Where the hell did it come in from? Al, keep up the good work. AJ, keep up the good work. Thank you so much for that. That's really appreciated. Thank you for being a great guy. Really do appreciate it. And yeah, brilliant. Well done. Cheers for that. K-Doc, Rocky, if you can do quick basic TA like the clickbait dudes in under 30 seconds, cut those videos and put them on TikTok, then link you YouTube. Huge audience there, but low attention spans. Oh, cool. Okay, well, how about I just do that? I'll do for the rest of the clips I make for the rest of them. I've done the Bitcoin one already, so draw a line under that, right? Thank you, AJ, and let me know if there's something that you want to take a look at in particular. I really do appreciate you showing support there to the channel. That's super fantastic. I had to set there a light. Yeah, exactly. Scottish phrase, that one. And by the way, everybody, you, just so you know, there is a Patreon which you're totally invited to join if you'd like to, but no pressure. There's a whole year of time before we need to start worrying about that. Right. Anyway, how about I try and make it so that I make all the clips in around about a minute, right? Around about a minute, and then I don't know, another time I'll try and make a TikTok account. I'll not do it tonight. It's already 9:45, and I wanted to kind of finish up earlier this evening. But over the next wee while, then maybe I'll make one of those accounts and start publishing them. But just in terms of short video clips, let's see how these ones perform by doing the quick TA on Ethereum, Tezos, and Chainlink, right? And then Cardano and whatever. Maybe if AJ wants me to look at a coin, I could. I just need to get set up here for this. If we're going to keep it in a minute, then I can't afford to edit any charts. Here we go. Is the music cool? Well, the music's going to have to do anyway. Seriously, I found out about BitBoy on TikTok, not actually YouTube. Really? Interesting. That's interesting stuff. Do you like BitBoy, I wonder, as well? Interesting. I mean, I don't know. I've never watched any things he does. I just know that he doesn't he doesn't do like TA the way I do it. That's essentially all I really know about him, to be honest with you. All right, cool. So let's see if we can crack this one in a minute. Hi friends, Rocky Outcrop here to bring you some quick and easily digestible Ethereum technical analysis. Up here you can see the 24-hour chart, and we have a potential wedge on the go. If we do see the prices dropping down the way, then I'm looking out for that 15,000. 15,000. That's not going to work, is it? Oh, and if you can do it dressed in anime costumes, that stuff is platinum on there. Yeah. I'm wondering as well. I do like the way that DOT and Synthetics have been performing with regards to these price points in it around about the $25 level. There's some interesting stuff happening there. I wanted to point out the need as well to stay above the 236. So I'm going to extend that Fibonacci off to the left and draw one in the same thing, right, up to the highs here, but pop this off to the right. Okay. Hi friends, I'm Rocky Outcrop. This is get a cat zoom filter. Is that, what's that? I don't know what that is, mate. Rufflecopter. Great name. Rufflecopter Wash. What a name that is. What a fantastic name. Still not as good as the king of names, Navin Ethan, who has the best name of all the outcropticians, but it's pretty good. Hi friends, I'm Rocky Outcrop. This is some nice, quick and easily digestible Ethereum technical analysis for you. I hope you enjoy it and you leave me a like. That would really be appreciated. Let's see here on the 24-hour chart, we have a wedge that could bring us up towards some higher targets, and we'll draw them in just a second, but I want to point out where we need to stay above in order to remain happy on this one. The $1,600 level is where the 236 is at. You'll also notice that lines up with the lower end of the wedge. Breaking that would be quite bad, and we could be looking down to the 618 golden pocket, which extends down here as far as the $1,200 area. Myself, I'm paying keen attention to $1,400 as well. If we do go down the way for various reasons we'll not get into. Looking here on the charts with this upside potential, what could it mean in terms of the wedge? Drawing this in just so you can see how it's done and popping it up the way, it actually brings us up quite close to our higher target, and at the 3.414 there at $2,350. The next target after that is up there close close to 3,000 at around about 2,760. Let's call the next big target for the old memes 3 grand, but we've got a ways to go first. We're within the wedge. Look for volume if we do break it. Little things to be aware of. If I point them out to you, hopefully they help. This recent high could potentially have a bit of the old bearish divergence on there, so something to be aware of. And as well, we can see the same thing on the RSI. Maybe worth noting that this is in a consolidation pattern, and this makes a lot of sense as we're coming into even more all-time highs. A break of this could see us breaking up or down the way. I'm going to put my opinion on the markets breaking towards the top side because, of course, we've been in a bullish trend for quite a while. Drop that like button. I'd like to see you come back for a live stream one day. We can see the stochastics pointing towards the top side in 24-hour time frame. Plenty of good things to be aware of, you know, overall, so long as we don't break down too far and cross over the neutral line here in the 4 hours, and indeed break past this lower support line on the RSI on the 4 hours as well. Finding support in the neutral line, quite good. That's all too much. It's all too much. It's all too much. It's too much detail, right? Too much detail. Too much detail. People don't want detail like that. They don't want it. They don't need it. They don't like it. They don't want it. Hi friends, let's take a look at Ethereum together. Drop me a like if you like what you see. I really like it when people do that. This is the 24-hour time frame we have behind me right now, and you can see that there is a wedge on the charts. A breakout and a measured move from this wedge would take us up towards our higher target of the 3.414, which comes in at around about $2,300. The move itself takes us up towards 2,200. Both of those offering up decent profit-taking targets. I'm not a financial advisor, and none of this is financial advice, but what I would be looking to if we do go towards the downside would be the lower end of the wedge range, coming in there at about $1,600. Breaking that, I think it is, of course, possible we go down as far as the golden pocket here at $1,200. I'd be looking out for $1,400 though along the way. There's a couple of things you might want to know if you want to get technical. For instance, you have some hidden, visible bearish divergence on the MACD. That's not the 24-hour time frame, for fuck's sake. Sorry guys, I'm sorry for swearing again. Who let the bulls out? Play pump bump thump after to skip the Joy Division cover. Aye, fair enough. I hear this Joy Division cover actually at the minute. Where did I put that? Right, there we go. Thanks for the tip. And we're just going to run that Ethereum technical in it. As thanks for everybody for being patient as I run through the video clips. Thanks. Hi friends, I'm Rocky Outcrop. This is Ethereum technical analysis. Drop me a like if you like what you see. I really like it when people do that. Looking at this 24-hour time frame that we have open, we have a wedge here encapsulating the most recent bullish action. Because the market has been bullish in general, I'm inclined to say that we're likely to break this towards the top side. Of course, there is a statistical likelihood that we would go towards the downside. Keeping an eye out for the 236 Fibonacci retracement point that lines up with the lower end of the wedge here at $1,600 is probably a wise thing to do. If we did break down, then we could go as far as the 618, coming in there at $1,250. I'm going to keep an eye out for $1,400 if we need to along the way. We have two targets towards the top side, talking $2,200 if we want to go for the measured move, or if we're looking at it from a Fibonacci retracement extension point, we're going to talk about the 3.414 in there at about 2,343. Of course, next targets thereafter coming at the 414 at about 2,700, but we'll cross those bridges when we come to them. That's everything you need to know right now. For extra detail, then just be aware that we have bearish divergence on the MACD, for example, in here, and we've got a triangle forming on the RSI. The statistics are pointing towards the top side on the daily time frame. Potential for a cross coming in here on the no sure thing, but currently, of course, that's negative. Let's see how these things resolve. Thanks so much for tuning in. Join the Discord if you want to have a chatty, friendly community. Drop me a like, hit that subscribe, and of course there's a Patreon which I would love you to join if you want to do that. Patreon.com/rocky.outcrop. I'll see you again for more of this content in the future. Right, cool. Anyway, I thought that was pretty damn good for whatever it was. I don't know, couldn't have been that long. How far into the tune are we? It was about a minute and a half TA there. Right, I'm going to go back to the start for this one because it's called pump dump thump bump thump. So I mean, this is TA music. Hi friends, I'm Rocky Outcrop. This is the 24-hour Chainlink chart that we have up here, and there's a few key things to be aware of in the near-term future. We could be looking, if we got a break towards the downside, at targets even as low down as this red line over here at $19. Worth pointing that out before we start to get extra crazy, happy bullish on the upside, where if we do go up the way, our first target comes in there actually at 37 bucks. Well, we have three, let's be honest, the three Fibonacci points that we're looking at here. 2618 coming in there at $40. That's a nice tasty target, but it even goes on beyond that. $53 and $60 being your next two targets to look to. But zooming on in and getting in with a bit of the old micro detail, we want to see the prices remain above $26, and that's where the 236 Fibonacci retracement point is. That would be good for us to have that happen, to give us a bit of security looking forward towards the towards any moves outside of this wedge area. Breaking this, I want to see it happen with volume. We see the diminishing volume throughout that period of somewhat consolidation despite moving up the way. That's interesting to see, and of course natural. And what we see here is that there's an upward slant on the stochastics. Jumping down the way on the 4 hours, you see that it's gone down. Looking to see if we can get a bounce on the neutral line on this one. Plenty of detail to be had if you join me for a live stream. You can always catch up with me directly in the Discord. You can support the channel, and I really do appreciate people who do that, by going to patreon.com/rocky.outcrop. Be sure you drop a like and you come back for more of these videos in the future, because I ain't going anywhere and I'd love to see you in another one. Cool. That's cool. That's Chainlink technical analysis, right? So we're going to keep going. These are little clips that I'm making, by the way, if you're just wondering. Little clips that I'm making for the benefit of people who haven't actually tuned in to this live stream. I'm not going to use that chart. Hi friends, technical analysis for Tezos right here. What's that price? $3.19. That's odd. I thought the prices were much closer to $3.75. Well, indeed that is the case. There's a big disparity between the HitBTC site and the other exchanges. Something you might want to be aware of, and it could be something to look to in the future. 20% difference. It's an arbitrage opportunity. Looking to actually just trade this rather than conduct arbitrage, then you want to know the targets towards the top side and of course towards the downside. Well, let's grab a couple of them for you just by drawing in this Fibonacci up towards the highs and coming in from our previous lows, and we can see then that so long as we stay above the overall price target of $3.35, that we're doing pretty well in terms of maintaining the upward structure, not taking out either of any of our previous highs, and that's very good and healthy to see. We also have targets towards the top side, and some of them are quite easy to identify. I'd like to point out the fact that we've just come in for a 1618 Fibonacci retracement point with our most recent of highs, and that's in at that 390 area. The next area up the way, and this is our next target, comes in at around about 442. I'd probably say to look out for the 420 blaze it zone along the way, of course, as well. Then thereafter, we're talking about $5.50. That's not the only thing that we have on the go. We're inside a pitchfork that we have, of course, moved into the extension zone for. Overall, this could operate as a channel. We just came up to where we came from off the back of an ascending triangle. Plenty of detail, plenty of information, and lots of good stuff to be known about. For instance, the bearish divergence that we can see over here on the RSI. If you want to know about all these details, be sure to join me for a live stream sometime, or catch up with me directly in the Discord. You can find the link for that down below. If you want to help support the channel, I'd really appreciate it if you did. Then at the minimum, please hit the like button, and then of course if you want to be a generous soul, then jump over to patreon.com/rocky.outcrop, where of course I'm looking to try and accumulate enough Patreons to continue justifying making these episodes into 2022. I'd like to see you there, or here, or there, or anywhere. Just come back again and I'll see you then. Right, screw it, that'll do for Tezos. So what have I done so far? Bitcoin, Ethereum, Chainlink, Tezos. Let's do a quick Cardano technical analysis. Where's my measured, where's my my fake trade? Where is it? Whoops. Is it the time frame's too low? So let's check in with how it went on. Oh my goodness. By the way, who was trading this as we did the TA for it? Was that, I mean, I know you were, Tony. Boom, where did we go? Before we pulled back? I mean, I drew this in fairly roughly. I'm sure you probably could have been fairly satisfied with your move there. Wowza. For anybody who doesn't believe in technical analysis, let us consider that to be proof in the pudding right there. And of course, if you don't believe in me as your TA guru, then, well, after seeing that, there's absolutely no helping you. Tell him Jamie, says Tony Wright. Wonder what you're talking about over there. Elio is not a TA channel, more of a crypto news channel. Yeah, he seems like a very nice guy as well. Not seen Elio, but I'll have a look. Yeah, he seems like a nice guy. I think that is again, he's another one of these ones that is a nice guy. Drew's Tech, you hit liked and you Patreoned. Wow, appreciated. My goodness, Drew's Tech, you're a legend. Thank you so much for that. Love you, Rocky. Keep it up. Awesome, always awesome, TA. I appreciate you more than words could describe right now, so I'll not get too bogged down in it. Suffice it to say that I've got genuine, authentic, passionate feelings of gratitude there for that, so I really do appreciate it. Okay, so do you think BTC is going to $43,000, says Enrique G. Just before we come back and do this 1 minute clip on Cardano, just diving really quick over towards the price action here. The range at the minute is really between this low here at 43 and the high up there at 48. Now of course we found support in here at the 236. The general expectation could be to go towards the top side, and if we come back down the way, then you'll have to look towards this area because of this over here as well, to say, look, this zone is going to need to be respected. Should we break up above it again, it would be ideal to see that actually be respected and us not see 43k again. However, let's be realistic, that is of course very much on the cards. Right, jumping on anyway, I've already done that in like extreme detail by this point, so let's not get too bogged down in anything. Wasn't that a bit of glorious fun for us on the show? I think it was. Hi friends, how you doing? Cardano technical analysis. There's always something to be learned by tuning into the live shows. I do them Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Be sure you hit that like and subscribe button and come back for one of them. This is one of the moves that we were talking about during the show. Of course, people were trading that at the time. Although I'm not a financial advisor, none of this is financial advice. Jumping up towards the 24-hour time frame, what can we say about Cardano? Let me just move my Fibonacci tool up here to encapsulate the recent price and point out the fact that where this wee red line is, the wee red arrow, and that green line in there at 72 cents is the area that we really want to see respected. If we break down below that, then of course 60 and this red line is absolutely on the cards there, and in fact it might not even stop there. It could go as far as the big pullback target of 37. Nevertheless, we're on the way towards the top side and things have been going very, very well. Let's check in with the moves that we've had up the way so far. We're drawing a Fibonacci extension tool in here between these two and acknowledging that we've already come in for the 4.414. That's absolutely fantastic. Off the back of that particular extension, you can see we've already superseded it on that one as well. At this point here, I would highly just recommend to people that they take a look at the parabolic SAR from J. Wells Wilder Jr. You can add it to your charts quite easily using this button here. Just type in SAR and it'll come up, parabolic SAR. That'll help you find areas to manage your risk. Currently on the 24-hour time frame, the stop and reversal point comes in at 53. That might be a bit far away for those of you who are looking to manage their risk. How about we look at it on the 12-hour time frame, and you can see it lines up nicely with that 236 Fibonacci retracement point in there at 70. There we go. That's your TA. I hope it helps you. There's a lot more that we could be discussing as we do in the live shows all the time, such as the fact that we've come up here towards this most recent high with a degree of bearish divergence. Should we see that 236 getting broken, in which case you'd be looking down further. Of course, as well, we have a really good opportunity to just simply blast on up the way and set the heather alight. Let's see how we get on. If you want to help support the channel, I'd appreciate you heading over towards patreon.com/rocky.outcrop, where you can do that. And as well, if you think that that's a little bit beyond you, then a like and a subscribe goes a long way to helping us out here. Thanks so much for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next live stream. Right, okay, so I'm going to keep on going here. That's, by the way, Rocky Outcrop, get on dot after this. Oh, is that what you meant? Oh, God, I didn't really. And that's what you meant. Tell him, Jimmy. Oh, sorry. That's funny that I was ignoring you. Anyway, I was just doing the work I had to do. Just getting the things out of the way that had to be got out of the way. Oh, isn't it nice? Isn't it nice to tune in to a chart and see that we came up to a fib extension? Then whenever we retraced, we didn't actually knock out the 1618. Ooh, but only if we stay above the parabolic SAR, looking to remain above the $21 on this crypto.
Wouldn't it be nice for everybody that likes to look head and shoulders? It's always worth remembering that there's a 60% chance that you won't actually manage to do the move. When we saw the prices extending past the right hand shoulder, everything went crazy and it moved up a nice solid 22%. Then we retrace back down to the same area. Wasn't that a surprise that we found support at the previous highs? Then we went on up towards the top side, and we are still looking at the 3.414 at $30. But that's enough singing though. How about we actually do the technical analysis on this thing? And thank you so much for everybody who tunes into these episodes, by the way, all the time and hits likes and subscribes and all the rest of it. Let's see if we can discover anything along the way. Whoops. Okay, we're not made it there yet though. No withdrawals back down the way. Not willing to call that bearish divergence. This time frame, 12-hour time frame, needs to be amortize these into the one instead. This is a bit wedgy. Same sort of chat as what we're looking at with regards to, you know, the likes of Link and Tezos and whatever else. This is the potential for this to be wedgy. Then of course we could move up, but what we're going to be looking at, well, we just move the average true range. This is when you start to see these sort of stair-stepping type moves and things, and you could be looking up beyond even the 3.4 and the 4.414. In fact, I've dropped that in completely the wrong place. You could be looking up to the 4. Oh, that lines up perfectly. In fact, the measured move coming in there at $35. That's going to have to be your third take profit target with the current moves on this one. Sort of let me just do what I've been doing during this show and drag this in towards the top side. Whoops, that's a bit narrow on it. There's target number 2, I suppose, really technically, since we're already at target 1, let's be honest. There's target 2 though, really, thereafter. And then I'm not going to draw in anything higher because that's already crazy, looking at 35 up from having been at 25, or indeed looking at 30 from 25 as well. They're both, you know, more than 20% moves towards the top side, so that's fair enough. Let's not get too greedy on it, but we can always remember as well that there are the potential for pullbacks along the way. Getting rid of this here and drawing in from that same low up the way. Oops, I always do that. Well, I don't always do it. I do it frequently enough though to annoy me. Up towards the top sides, we want to stay above $22 essentially. 21.93 is what that says there. Fair enough. Pattern wise, of course, as well, this is what I was talking about there, and we can see this having happened. By the way, for people who are looking at these coins recently and looking at the structure and saying this is an odd structure where you've had a movement up the way and a movement down the way, where you've got a low here which is following on from having had a higher high. Another way of looking at this sort of thing is simply to say, well, if that's that way up the way and this is this way down the way, and then we of course encapsulate this side over here, that's how you find your diamond tops, by the way. And then the measured move off the back of a diamond top is just the flagpole essentially. So let's compare that to the measured move that we had for the other pattern and see if there's any overlap in terms of how these things work. It's a little bit less girthy than the other one, not quite as much of a move. It does encapsulate the full move up the way, you know, the full thing, but maybe this would be more realistic in terms of your upside target, and that lines up. So you're getting a number of confluence points, you know, $35 making a perfect target towards the top side. Now what we want is obviously to stay in trades and not get too, like, you know, washed out. Where do you want to drop out at? Well, $20 would be a big problem to go down to, but of course not the end of the world, so long as the jet planes, the red jet planes, don't start, of course, hammering us towards the downside by that stage. Of course, I'll just get rid of that one. So we're still looking for support to come in at around about $21, I suppose, really 20 to 21. But the parabolic SAR has you on the 24-hour time frame, staying in your position until 17. Let's look at it in a lower time frame and get a bit more realistic on it and say that actually, in terms of where we've come recently, we've actually seen the parabolic SAR flip. So the chances of us breaking out of this at the minute, while they remain as they ever do, decent, we can acknowledge that these two highs are coming with a degree of bearish divergence, and maybe it's fair to look down towards towards that $20 to $21, you know, $20.40 for instance, as a decent entry if you're wanting to take a move off the back of it. That gives you a number of different ways of approaching your trading in this zone. For instance, let's just assume that you're not planning on doing any shorts and you just wait for decent entries instead. Then a nice move up towards the top end of that and managing your risk with a sort of decent 5-to-1 risk to reward actually sees you not having to stop out of any trades until you see the prices drop down to the 19.6 area. That's a nice one. I mean, it really is not breaking the bank here by saying that I'll get in at around about 20.50, I'll stop at around about 19.50, and I'll take profit at around about 24.90. You know, that's your first one. Then of course, if you're to be super absolutely crazy on it, and lots of people would like to do this, so why not? What would a 5-to-1 be to actually take us up towards that measured move? You know, what sort of tolerance would you need to be having if you're going to be crazy and trading it through the range? Now this boils down to the whole concept that I often talk about, how it's your job to buy and sell risk. So let me just kind of, you know, use this as an example and show you that there's the three concepts that people have. Now this middle one is the one that everybody kind of gravitates towards whenever they're looking at patterns. Okay, this is what they gravitate towards, and that's what you'll find if you watch like the likes of the Moon, etc. as well, because they don't really talk about trading within the range. They talk about trying to bust outside of the move, having taken it from within, you know, your support area. This is inadvisable for your long-term longevity as a trader overall. But then again, I'm not a financial advisor, none of this is financial advice, so by all means crack on and take that if you want to. What actually makes a lot of sense though as well is if you were to be looking up towards, you know, one of these areas, let's just go for the bigger measured move, or let's just drag out towards where that measuring stick is, and then say that you could do it in three ways, in a couple of stages, 1, 2 and 3, where you'd actually be managing your risk with saying that if we take out the previous lows in about this consolidation phase, then we are obviously not doing well. Why would that make a good deal of sense in terms of anything else? Well, you'd have one low there, you'd have two lows there, then by this stage you'd have three lows, and it'd be unrealistic for you to be looking to try and buy the risk between the prices of 22 to 23 without acknowledging the full-on possibility of a 10% withdrawal thereafter. Okay, that's your TA on that one. Do you want to, shall we look at anything else? I don't know. I mean, that's like drop the mic, right? Isn't it? I don't know. I think it is. The divergence is there to be seen, like I pointed out already. Of course, on the bigger time frames, then you're seeing this kind of potential sort of weirdo MACD head and shoulders. I don't really buy into them too much. I would like to point out then, of course, the so-called hidden bullish divergence in here at this point over here, worth being aware of, I suppose, overall, and looking at this thing and saying, well, you know, overall, while we have this downward sloping bearish divergence, that actually what it does is it means that we've got a good deal of room towards the top side should we break what is otherwise a downward sloping resistance line, and that's what it would be to circumnavigate bearish divergence beyond on the longer term. And that's when you get that counterintuitive viewpoint where I say to people so often that so like counterintuitively, you know, what we need to see happen is yada yada yada, so that we don't have this actually form as bearish divergence. Well, another analogy for the same thing is of course to talk about that as terms of a diagonal sloping support and resistance line. If you're looking at things in terms of the DMI, you can see that we have of course got this upward movement. I'm looking for the DM positive to take out the 30 area on the 24-hour time frame. You can see the ADX has managed to actually recover the 40 zone, which is good to see. You don't often see that happening on this chart, well, this particular chart. Let me just draw it in for comparison by going to another chart that's got more more history on it, such as the Bitcoin chart, and saying that, you know, you don't often see it recapturing the 40 overall. As you can see, it often breaks down below it, often does. So the fact that we're doing that at the minute with the degree of hidden bullish divergence gives you the sort of the hidden story that the otherwise, you know, the man doesn't want you to know. Now, there's no point in trading off the back of that and just assuming that everything will go your way because of the things that I've said in today's section of the show. In fact, it would be far better to just manage your risk accordingly, and the way to do that would be to be looking at these sort of clear structural zones and the numbers that I've already pointed out. I don't know, what do you think? Nice one. That's cool. Oh, for did you mean, were you talking against Bitcoin the entire okay, cool. Well, anyway, you know, that's going to give you a good deal of insight when we go over to look at the Bitcoin chart, right? Because what we can see is that there's a plenty of negative type things on the go, but a lot of potential positivity. Why is there a full history of this thing? Let's find a different Bitcoin pair. Binance got more history, right? Yeah, good one. So what you're seeing here, as you could, is that we're at the top end of things, and yes, you know, you could be calling this like the head and shoulders, right? So you've got this clear resistance, support line, right? And then you could obviously look at this and say, like, shoulder, head, shoulder, this is it, measure move, yada, 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 right? But we're not going to get too bogged down with that, because there's also various other ways of looking at this, and one of which is, like, just as you can see, the Gestalt nature of things. If this was just simply to be a symmetrical triangle, what would it look like? So slanting, so the reliability of head and shoulders, which have got a big slant on them, especially the ones where they're slanting against the prior trend, or, you know, slanting with the prior trend, sorry, or what, you know, what, you get the point I'm making, is fraught with danger, right? Because they often translate, of course, into symmetrical triangles. These are the sorts of lessons that realistically, no matter how good a course I could make, I could never actually put all of these lessons in here. So actually, you know, once you've learned things, it's always good to kind of continue to make these associations across time, so that you get the so these things get embedded in your head as you're looking at things. Because like the guy that came along earlier on, Cullen Skink or whatever, Cullum, that you know, that people get distracted, and there is this Gestalt nature to charting, okay, that it's easy to get distracted by. So could we move towards the top side thereafter? Well, I mean, you know, this is a 50-50 pattern here, if you want to call it that, and then of course just taking this as a rough sort of guideline measuring stick, then you're looking up towards the sort of all the zeros 7. That's a 50%, well, let's call it a 40% movement up the way, because it wasn't high 7s or 8, so we'll call it a 40 to 50%